Hello, good people. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for finding the time to join in the show today. Again, it's another Blue Morning show, and today we will be doing the tier list exercise where we analyze each player's situation and get to decide where they belong, either to keep or as a starter or as a rotational player, or maybe to sell the player in particular. But we'll first of all look at all the items, a few items, not too many of them lined up that we have to talk about today. But more importantly, I hope you're all doing well. And as usual, I think it's important that I look at those in the chat and find out how they are doing. And once again, thank you so much for finding the time to join the show. But more, let's sit down, relax, and let's get into the show. Yes, good people. Big up to you all. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back once again to Chelsea Perspective. Let's get into it straight away. Quite a few stuff to get in the chat already, but it's not too many. The first one here says, it's that time of the year from my bro Jerry Z. Always nice to see you, brother. He says, I would love to hear coaches' analysis as who stays and who goes. I am so excited. I want to get your own analysis too, because yeah, everybody's opinion here counts. So when we talk about each player, I really would like to get your opinions on what you want the club to do with that player in particular. And this here says, Coach, your prayers can get us our Nigerian brother from Napoli, Victor Simhan. Who are you? What are you doing at Naples? I'm not at Naples. I'm still where I am. The city is pretty scary. On average, come to West London. Well, I would decide. I like where I am, and I'm sure you know where I am already. So Naples is a good place to some people. It's home to a lot of people. But big up to you, Jerry Z. And JC, big up, brother. He says, big up, Kachila. How are you? Finally, it's that Excel sheet time. Yeah, that's what it is. The Excel sheet time. We'll go through it again. We'll get a lot done today, I believe. Not too much going on out there with regard to news. Just a few, a few rumors out there and some recycled news actually. By the way, just curious, how many players do you have on the Excel sheet? I didn't count them. This is somebody already created the tier list that I'm just adjusting it to align with what we want to do with it. So yeah, I think it's about 30 or plus. 30, yeah, 30 plus total players. If we leave anybody out, there's still the time to continue another day. Coach, if you have a data related work, you can give it to me. Okay, thank you. That would be nice to see that somebody can help. I'm trying to again to build a team so that everything is done. You know, so that it's not just me alone because it can be overwhelming. JC, okay, just saying hello to JC there. Big up to you too, Contender FC, aka Brianni Yahayu, aka Vivel CFC, aka 343 Dilemma. A big up, brother. I hope you're doing well. Always nice to see you. Thank you so much for finding the time to join in the show. It's a long way to go before start of the season, Jerry. We will see what goes on until then. I am pretty sure that we will see the signs of what is to come. Yeah, I think we'll start seeing movement here and there, and then it will give us a clear understanding of what's to come. Hopefully, I understand what you're saying. But in terms of what the club's activities in the transfer market, I think as we get closer and closer to the summer transfer window, we'll get to. learn a lot. We'll have a clear idea as to what's going to happen. Um, Oh no, he says, Kuchila, our scouts weren't impressed with Osimhen. You reckon this is just a PR for fans to accept Martinez? Here's the thing: if they're not impressed with him, there's a chance you're correct, and also there's a chance it may well be because what's his name? Mauricio Pochettino's preferences are Lautaro Martinez. Martinez, you could say, even though I see him more of a creator your stereotypical than a striker, I think he's a Mauricio Pochettino's perfect type of player. But let's see what the club does. The rumors are conflicting. Some say that Chelsea are, hell bent on getting Victor Osimhen and are willing to pay whatever it takes to get him. But let's see what happens. There's no telling what's the truth and what's not. But we move on from that. This one here says, keep dropping the likes, people. We have 17 likes. We should be doing better than that. The likes do go a long way. It triggers the YouTube algorithm, which in turn gets it to push the stream to other people who would be interested in the topics we have lined up here. What else do we have here? Big up to you too, PJ Kelly. Always nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining. Ghana Charleston, big up to you, brother. I hope you're doing well. And Constantine Duncan. Hello, Chipchila. Constantine, I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much. And always joining us from, what is it called? That platform called again, Twitch. Always nice to see you. What's up to you too? Thank you for joining. What else do we have lined up here? What time is it there? It is 3:43 a.m. For me. Yeah, I know it's 17 minutes before noon in the UK and some places. Anything below 50 will be a surprise, coach. You will need to double check. It cannot be 30s. What are you referencing? I'm not sure. Not the numbers. Okay. Um, yeah, but some of them we don't need to worry ourselves about. But I understand what you mean. Big up, everyone. Big up to my bro from the McKeever land at Tobago. Always nice to see you, brother. Thank you so much for finding the time to join in the show. What else do we have? I have been told Romelu Lukaku is set to stay at Inter Milan again for a loan with an option to buy. Um, that is believable. And why do I say that is believable? That's because um, at this point, I think they're able to get them for cheap. We're not going to get anything close to 50 actually. If we get up to 40, I'd say we'll be lucky. They've succeeded in making sure that it's practically his value is it's it's practically not up to half how much again not even anything close to how much we paid for him. Yeah, so thank you for that update there. And this says hit the like button, people, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thank you so much. We will hit 11,000 subscribers soon, hopefully sooner than later. But keep dropping the likes on the stream and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. This here says Lautaro Martinez works well with Lukaku. Are you implying that there may well be a sign that the club could decide to keep Lukaku? I think if anything, if we decide to go for Lautaro Martinez, it will be down to the fact that he is Mauricio Pochettino's perfect type of player, not because we're keeping Lukaku. I think the owners, the new owners themselves, by now must have heard a lot or learned how toxic Lukaku's behavior can be sometimes. If it's changed, humans do change, so there's a chance it's changed. I don't know, but whatever I think or however I feel will not change the club's hierarchy's mind if they decide to keep him or if they decide to let him go back on loan to Inter Milan or maybe terminate his contract. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I get it. It makes sense to think that way. There's a chance we may well be planning to keep him. But here's the thing: has it really worked between Lukaku and Lautaro Martinez, or since he returned to Inter Milan? The issue being that Martinez, had become his own, had become the main again, the main guy before Lukaku returned on loan. So I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but let's see what happens. But again, like I said, it's an argument that makes sense. Why you up so early, Coach? Because that's a perfect time to do the show and have an audience for us, if that makes sense. It's Broyer fit. He started training. I don't know if he's on the grass yet, but he's not fit enough to start again. If anything, he's just still in the recovery process. There's a process to probably some you could say strict type of exercise that he'd be doing. No, he can't do everything at the moment, but I'm not well acquainted with the situation. But the overall, I don't think he's ready to play a game yet. He hasn't even actually started training with all the players. Coach, we all know Lukaku won't work. It won't work into walk into Pochettino's system. We have, to be honest, Poch likes players who runs and presses, and players who, not. I don't think he likes working with your stereotypical number nine. He wants a number nine who's capable of dropping deep, participating in the play. You don't just wait in the box and wait for your teammates to supply you with with crosses and all that, so for you to just get at the end of the ball. He wants more from his strikers, and I don't think Lukaku is that guy. Unfortunately, yes, people keep dropping the likes on the stream. We're at 19. I keep it going. If Lukaku runs hard, then it's not only a problem for Hitman, but the groundsman. Yeah, because the grass will suffer. I understand that one. Dedication, coach. Well, thank you so much. That's how many zeros there? That much. It could happen, but I know we can get 200 likes today, but that's only if you, the viewers, believe we're capable of doing that. And something else I want to say quickly is this: those of you that are watching and for some reason or the other not able to participate in the chat, just remember we appreciate you and remember you provide great value to the community, and we want to say thank you. But if you can do us one more tiny bitty favor, just take a second, drop a like on the stream. That will go a long way. Just responding to JC there. And this one here says, I don't think Martinez suits EPL very well. That was the question I asked a day ago. So where I said between him and Osimhen again he will give us something different, something we haven't had for a while, which is he's capable of bullying defenders. He's strong, and also I think he's good enough on the ball, which means and he's still young, which means Pochettino can still improve him, and get him to be more than just your stereotypical striker. Get him to start participating in the play, drop him deep and all that. I think he's still very young and can improve. But that's by the way. And a big up to you. And if you're watching, if you're using, I think an iPod, if you look at the very bottom, you see an option where you can click the heart icon, 100% icon, and all that. I think that helps trigger the algorithm. If you can, that will go a long way. Let's see what else we have here. For my bro Tabejo, we appreciate you, coach. I appreciate you too, my brother, and thank you so much. Much love. And please, if you haven't, click the three dots to Tabejo's name, the coolest Charles. Go check out his channel. Be sure to subscribe. I think they started streaming again. And bro, you can always share the link to your channel. You don't even need to tell me. Much love. We grow together. Selflessness is the key watchword. We should not follow what Lukaku wants. Cover his salary, and loan back to Inter Milan. I think if he's not going to stay, he's not getting any younger. We should have a conversation with him. I see, if we can come, find common ground and terminate his contract. I think long term that would save us quite a lot of money. It doesn't make any sort of sense that he'd be on loan and we'll be covering his salary. I'd rather we find a solution. Uh, what I'm implying is this: we come to an agreement with him and terminate his contract so that he moves on, and we move on from him if we're not going to keep him. But what we've heard is that the club will call him to the table and they will have a conversation and find a solution with regard to his situation. But Rido, always nice to see you. Thank you so much for finding the time to join in the show. Hello, everyone. There are rumors that say we are ready to take out a number three sponsor and put Alliance. I'm not sure if it's going to be Alliance. Most definitely, we've heard that we will not continue with three. The telecom company. I think yeah, three is a telecom company, telecommunication company, if you prefer. And what we heard about 2 weeks ago is that we're already in conversation with Allianz and with the German giants. This I think they sponsor the sponsor of the I don't know whether if it'd be correct to say it this way. They are the sponsor of the Bayern Munich Stadium. Correct me if I'm wrong. The Allianz Arena. But that's by the way we move on from that. Let's see what happens. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And Sameka Chris, thank you so much. Always nice to see you. I appreciate you finding the time to join in the show. And here's the link to the Coolest Chelsea YouTube channel. Click through it. Please go subscribe. Let's grow together. It's all about Chelsea. And yeah, we need to be working together. So, yes, people, keep dropping the likes on the stream and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The likes do go a long way. Can we get Goldman Sachs sponsors? You never know. I don't know. I don't know if you can. I'm not sure. I don't. I've heard so much about him with stocks and all that, but I'm not sure their construct as an entity. So not too sure if that's even possible. Um, if we terminate his contract, will FFP come to us? I think I've asked that question before, and I was told, or somebody on the panel explained that he doesn't count as the current owner's expenditure. Expenditure, so it's not going to be an L for them. It would be for it would go to the previous owners if that if for lack of a better way to present to get my point across. Or will his lawyers sue us? You can't just terminate this contract. I think you have to have a conversation whether he again you say I don't know the construct of his contract where usually you pay them what you should have paid them had they stayed on, and usually if we go to him and be the ones to say we're here to see we want to terminate your contract. How do we go about it? Then we're in trouble. Then he'd be asking for everything, every penny that he can possibly get. But if he's the one that says he wants out, then it makes it easier on us. But whatever happens, we have to pay him some certain amount. How much I do not know. If that makes sense. Just give me 1 second. Yep. So I'm not well acquainted with that how it works. I have to be honest here. And it says, as for me, I prefer Latoro Martinez than Osimhen. Had he been on the like you can say, yeah, you could argue that Latoro Martinez may well be the better choice. Given the fact that if you look at Tottenham, if you look at Southampton, look at PSC, you cannot say that Mauricio Pochettino he had stereotypical strikers within the ranks of those clubs. But that doesn't mean he cannot work with a player like Osimhen. He's still a young player, and given his pedigree with young players, given that the fact that he's good at nurturing young players, there's a chance he molds him into an even more complete player than he is at this point, if that makes sense. But I'm going to move on from that one. So as for me, yeah, had he been under Thomas Tuchel and you could say Graham Potter, I'd say definitely Latoro Martinez. By the way, you're live earlier, Coach. It's still afternoon at my place. Wow. Did I maybe because we had what's it called the time saving thing. Daylight saving thing. So maybe it's returned and I didn't know and probably started the stream earlier. But by the way, we're here. Good morning, Coach, and everyone. Oladi Pupa Mesole, always nice to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well. So let's knock out the items we have lined up here and then go into the tier list exercise. This one here, this is a Frank Lampard. Is that the first item? I think it may have been, yeah, the second. This one here says Mauricio Pochettino's primary requirement at Cobham will be the installation of cameras to monitor every training session from a variety of angles. He and his staff have a video database of every training session and regularly refer back to footage in order to review their methods and tailor feedback to individual players. That is sci-fi levels here. I think that reminds me of Mauricio Sarri, who uses drones to get an area view of the movement of his players, and that's something I like to see. Attention to detail. I've heard he's very detail oriented, and that's a good sign. I think these players they have to work more, put in more work that is done under the you could say 10 previous managers if you prefer. But it's a good sign for me. I like him to work with cameras. and leave no stone unturned. I think that will help us, get to where we want to be sooner than later. Like I said, it just reminds me of Mauricio Sarri. So we move on from that. Something else we have here, and please, people, keep dropping the likes on the stream, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. This coming here from Frank Lampard, which says, Frank Lampard, Chelsea younger players must first impress in training before being considered for a place in his match day squad. Yeah, let me say, duh. That's I don't need Einstein for that, and we don't even need to hear that. They need to earn their place in the team, and yeah, they need to show they're capable of performing before even getting the chance in the lineup, if that makes sense. So this is not something actually. Um, I don't think we should actually be talking about that. But let me see. I think it's more. There's more to it. I'll give you time to load. You shouldn't be looking at the blank screen. Sorry about that. So what else do we have lined up here? And my bro Bobby says, "Yep. Smash the like button, people. Subscribe and support the channel. Thank you so much. The likes that do go a long way. Sincerely do appreciate all your support. Those of you who followed the channel since the days it had the community since the days when it was still a channel, but now it's a community when we had just 20 subscribers and all that. So it reads, they may be looked at it in the next few games. Of course, we have to try and get results for ourselves. So I have to think about that, and I also putting out a strong team. It's a difficult balance to achieve. Being honest here, we have to try and win because yeah, I get it. We're staying up, but that doesn't mean we should be starting a weak team against these big names, against Newcastle, against Newcastle United, against Manchester United, against Manchester City. I don't think it will help anybody if we end the season losing the rest of the games. I think that will hit the confidence of the players so hard, and it wouldn't make any sort of sense to end on that note. Um, get a big win. Hope, hopefully not against Manchester City, if that makes sense. But that's by the way, we're moving from that. Anything else we'll have lined up here? Just the two items. I don't know. Bobby, big up to you. Thank you so much for finding the time to join in the show. I don't know if you have much to say before we get into the keep, sell, loan exercise, the TLS exercise. This one here talks about Mauricio Pochettino. This says Mauricio Pochettino's primary requirement at Cobham will be the installation of cameras to monitor every training session from a variety of angles. He and his staff have a video database of every training session and regularly refer back to footage in order to review their method and tailor feedback to individual players. That's excellent. That's something you say. Like when I first spoke about Reddit, I said that reminds me of Mauricio Sarri. He's a very detail-oriented guy, and you can say that's what we need, and that's what we haven't had. We haven't had for a while now. But your thoughts?
Pick up, Coach. I'm doing a bit of a mic check first. Can you hear me? Because I've got you plugged in my ear.
In that feedback, that you can say cracky feedback or static feedback.
Still happening. Oh gosh.
Yeah. So just come in whenever you're ready. Let me get us through what we have in the chat. Yeah, people keep dropping the likes. We're 31 likes already. I think that's a good sign. Let's try and get 200 likes today. Go ahead, Bobby. I think it sounds better now.
Yeah, so what's up with the Pochettino thing? Isn't he supposed to be signing today? What's going on with that? I'm tired of talking about
I'm not sure. We don't hear anything saying there's a holdup or there's an issue. I think it will still happen. So we'll keep our eyes open, and if it happens, we'll let people know. But I'm referencing if you have anything to say with regards to that the fact that they're saying with regard to they're saying the first thing he do is to install camera to be able to look at the training activities from multiple angles. If that's something you're interested in talking about, if not, I can move on to the next one.
Well, that's good as long as there's no possibility for it to be leaked or for it to be what's the word I'm looking for? When somebody sort of hijacks your
Okay,
data material.
to hack into it and be viewing it
Yeah,
remotely.
for hacking.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it can't be hacked, fine.
Yeah, I think it makes sense, but I think Chelsea is a big entity and probably well acquainted with how technology works and understands there's a chance somebody can hack into it and be viewing it remotely. And it can be also be turned up. When if left for me, yeah, I'd say, but I don't know. However, it works for him. That's why I prefer Sari's approach, which he uses a drone and then takes his time to view the recordings from the drone. But that's, by the way, this that's Tabero saying hello to you. And this here says, I'm going to bring you in. I think one more stop. If Pochettino wants to keep both Mount and Conor Gallagher, will you guys be happy? I think it has to be one of the two, or if they both can be both can be actually rotating. And I've seen both of them play in a game, and they did great on the day. It all comes down to the manager's approach, and that game I have never forgotten. You could say that's the only game we played on the ground Porto that I really liked. The two of them played. I forgot who played centrally, and one of them played as an eight or so. One of them played as a winger, and one of them played as a 10. I don't remember who exactly it was that played as. I think it was Mason that played as a 10 on the day. But I'd rather have the two of them rotate because they use so much energy whenever they're on the pitch. So it will only make sense to have one rested, ready to come in when the manager decides to rest the other one, if that makes sense. I don't know. You have anything to add to that, Bobby, or should I go on?
Yeah, that's another argument I really want to see settled. I was listening to a space just before this. In fact, I left it to come to this. And,
Hmm.
some people were adamant, oh, Mount is going to Liverpool, that sort of talk. So I really want him to come in. Let's be settled. Let's know what's going on. I want Mount to stay. I know you want Mount to stay. Let's sort that. If not, then let's sort that. But I'm tired of the uncertainty. This is about the stability that we need now. We need to be clear
Hmm.
of the team. Another player, I think, I wouldn't mind coming into Chelsea is Moises Caicedo. That guy has so much of the Michael Essien around it about him. He's such a Chelsea-esque midfielder. He fits this club so well as to what we're trying to do that
Hmm.
I think it will almost be a crime if we don't go and sign him.
Yeah, I think. Let's see. Just my only concern is, are we able? Again, we don't have the luxury to spend that much money in the summer. Um, but let's see what happens. Hopefully, we get a
Coach,
sponsor before then, and then make some sales, balance the books on time. I think that will help.
exactly.
Yeah,
We,
that will help.
with sales, there must be purchases, and regardless, there must be purchases. We have to purchase, or we will stagnate. You can't do something halfway. It's sometimes worse having a half completed job than an uncompleted job entirely. So we need to
Mm.
complete it. We have to do it. 70 million is not big bucks compared to what the market is dictating and will dictate. um, I don't know. I think if they are selling him at 70, we should go for it. Um,
Yeah, but
um,
I'd argue. I don't think. I think it's the knock of 70 or even more. Because remember, Arsenal went in with 70, they refused, and now they signed a new contract. Whether it's an extension or whether it's just an improved contract, because I think we heard something to the effect of Brighton wanting to compensate him for staying, for not leaving.
yeah.
I don't remember. But go ahead if you were still talking.
Yeah, I mean, you could be right. The reason why his price went so ridiculously high was that they didn't want him to leave mid-season, which was
Hmm.
January. I think the January factor took its hold. Now, giving him an extended contract, will it enable them to solidify that high price? Possibly. Everybody wants money, don't they?
Hmm.
So he's probably going to stay at that high price because he's going to be highly sought after. But bear in mind, there's a lot of what I call A grade midfielders out there that will be on the move. There's
Hmm.
Declan Rice, there's him, there's Jude Bellingham, there's McAllister, who's also coming from Brighton. So there's the likes of that guy at Mönchengladbach. There's the guy at Fulham. There's quite a few of these guys around. So will that price stand? I think 90 million will be a big ask for him. I still reckon about 70, which initially was rejected, might be accepted. I don't know. And this is another thing that would drive down the Declan Rice price. You know, if
Indeed.
Arsenal see that Moise Caicedo is still going at 70, they will snob Declan Rice, and that will drive down his price. However, that might drive up Moises' price. Look, there's nothing cheap that's good out there. So if we want to get the best players, we're going to have to pay the top dollar. And if we need to sell, then we sell. Period. You
All
know,
right.
and
Thank you so much. Yeah. Go
that will
ahead.
mean that will mean sacrificing your likes of Kovacic, Ruben. I wouldn't mind sacrificing a lot of those guys, even Gallagher, if it means we can get Caicedo.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Bobby. I'm going to catch up with what we have in the chat. I think one more item. I don't know if you have anything to say regarding that. Otherwise, we go ahead into the keep or sell exercise. Yep. Like I said, it will make sense to keep them both. Lampard, uh, clueless, has no cameras. Some people will say that. But that it doesn't mean you really do need camera. But I think it makes sense. It will help you see things better from an area view. I want to know if Chelsea have signed the Switzerland goalkeeper Gregor Kobel. No, we haven't. We're not. I don't think we're interested in him. Kamara, nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining the show. In terms of goalkeepers, I think the only goalkeeper we've been seriously linked with right now is Onana. Rumors are that we've actually held talks with his camp. Some are saying, and we also did, rumors are that we also did register interest with, what's his name, Emiliano Martinez, whom we've heard he's looking to leave Aston Villa at the end of the season. Good morning to you too, Abdurrahman. Finally, we have a proper coach after Tuchel. Wow, that is some argument. Yeah, after Tuchel, yeah, you could argue that. What else do we have here? Contender FC says, I have no doubt Gallagher will survive his fitness test, but clips on the things he's done wrong in training and in game. That's going to be a hash on our on our Gallagher, in my opinion. Here's the thing. I think he'll be all right. He's still very young, and I think Poch can mold him into a better, an even better player. At least that's my opinion. Disclaimer, as always. Gallagher and Kante, the only ones who will pass their fitness test. Yeah, two of them for sure. Let's see what else we have here. Bobby, I agree. As long as the cameras won't be hacked, and then yeah, and then you're wasting your time planning how to approach a game, and you don't know that the opposition watched you throughout the training session, and have a good idea of what you're going to do, and approach the game in a counter manner, and you're being serious trouble. They need to get outgoing deals done as soon as possible. I think by now there's a chance. They've started talking to potential buyers. We don't know, or maybe too soon, maybe not, but there's no way to know. But I know that it's important the outgoings get sorted out as soon as possible, so you'd have time enough to know areas where to know what areas to seek reinforcements for, or otherwise we'll find that situation where we sell players and end up not being able to sign a reinforcement, and it's also a difficult balance to achieve because the moment you sell and try to go buy a player, the selling club will know that you're desperate, which can cause the price of the player to go up. I want to know if Felix is going to return back to Atletico Madrid or June, or Chelsea will sign him. Honestly, Kamara, we don't know at this point. Lots of factors. We've heard some rumors uh, that he could push to leave, decide not to opt to leave, so to speak, because he wants to play in the Champions League. And some are saying he loves London. He has bonded well with his teammates, and would want to stay even without Champions League football. But there's no talent, so let's just wait and see what happens. And my bro, Wally Waldo, I appreciate you, bro. Yes, I know you've been very busy, like you told us, but you're always lurking. You're always listening, and I appreciate that. And I can't thank you enough for gifting ten members of the community with the membership. Sincerely do appreciate that. He says, to be honest, a signing Casado should sort out our midfield completely. Casado as a DM with Enzo, the box to box player. I don't know. Yeah, I know he will improve our sport, but the good question is which of them who should be the more disciplined of the two. If we have the two of them, let's say in an instance where we pair them as the two sixes, uh, that's up for debate to consider who do well as box to box, who do better as box to box between the two players. But Wally will do more importantly. Always nice to see you, brother. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. We have 71 people watching and we have 38 likes. We should be doing better than that. Thank you so much. Constantine Dante says there's a player like Casado all over for cheaper. They just need to scout and find them. Hopefully, they've already done that. Here's the thing: you're correct, but I think at this point, I think we have too many young players, too many up and coming talents, too many promising talent, if that's the language you prefer, that we need to find a balance. We need experienced heads. I know Casado is still young, but he's played so much game. I think he's played enough, garnered enough experience to do well. Where we can, if experience is the issue, so we need that balance, and I think he's the guy. I don't know how to present at this point so that my point of view can come across clearly to you, very clear to you. But I hope you understand. I don't think we should still be going to potential talents. We should go for recognized talents right now and mix things up, so that we can actually be able to perform. Genking 254 says Manuel Ohate or Casado, coach. Wow, some difficult question. I'd go for Casado. I need more time with Ohate. But one thing I've seen with Ohate is that he's physical, he's aggressive, and that's important to me. And you get both of those things from Casado himself. So I get it. Ohate plays traditionally as a DM. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Casado plays as a box-to-box midfielder. Or if you prefer, in our case, if we play with two sixes, then he'd be what I call a hybrid of 8 and 6. I think I have to do a comparison video for those two players. I think people would like to see that. They're both good. Urarte is good, but I'll take Casado over him, given that maybe probably because I know him better than Urarte. I need time with Urarte. I don't know him that well, and I have to be honest with you. But one thing they have in common, both aggression. They both can be aggressive. They both can be physical too. Yeah. So we'll move on to this one. I am fascinated to learn how the creation of family bond is important for Poch to be to be integrated in and around the club, from traveling, eating, to communications, communicating with the media. Wow, coach, I think there are. I'm not an expert with regards to how important bonding is, but I can say off the bat that it's important. At least, I think you could say, for lack of a better term, I think you could say it sets up, it makes that is the environment conducive for players and the staff to have a good relationship. And when that's the case, uh, I think I think it can go along with good relationship within a sport and between the staff and the players can go along with. That's I'm going to stop with that because I'm not an expert with regards to how the importance of having such bonds with the players and the staff. Coach, I feel excited for Poch, and that's Chelsea Blue. Big up to you, brother. We have to support him, whether you think he's a butler or not, whether you think he did bad, he didn't do well at Spurs or not. I think Chelsea is the entity we support, and if they hire, if today is announced as the new permanent manager of Chelsea Football Club, our responsibility is to support him because our support can go a long way. And for me, in my opinion, I'm going to keep saying this whenever that argument comes up. I think he actually overachieved at Spurs, given that Levy is not known to invest well in the squad, if that makes sense. Yeah, I'm excited too. Again, he says, Coach, I feel excited for Pochettino, first coach we've heard in years who actually develops players and can make them fight for the badge. Yep, otherwise you are the dough. It's as simple as that. I've seen the new football kits for next season, including Chelsea. they will look great for the next Premier League season. Well, that's the list of my concern. As That's a saying of the, I don't want to. I was going to say something with my dialect, and it says, let me just translate it to English. How cool your jersey looks, or uniform, if you prefer, isn't the most important thing. The most important thing is to, play well, score goals, and win games. I would have signed a song that I remember quite vividly. We used to sing when we were still very young in Igbo language, but I just want to move on from that. Well, I hope you understand what I mean. Casado, only 21, coach. He's also small. But he makes up for that with, again, aggression. I'm not sure how tall he is with aggression and physicality. I think is good. I think we need more physical, bigger players like is that what's his first name? Taram, the DM also that we've been linked with. I think Casado will suffice for me. I don't know the Taram guys very well, but I'd have to research him myself. I have to do lots of comparison videos actually. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The likes do go a long way. Thank you so much for participating. 41 likes. Let's get it to 50. Remember, we're shooting for 200 likes today. I want Chelsea to sign a new goalkeeper like David De Gea, because Man United want to sign Jordan Pickford, Everton's goalkeeper. I know, Patrick, clearly you're not a Chelsea fan, but I like it that you're respectful and keep the hire. Thank you so much. You can keep him. Coach, Tottenham fans are calling Poch a traitor and Judas. Wow. We've had two Judases in that case. If you want to start seeing, if we start seeing things, and we don't care really. Here's the thing: if anything, Poch is going to prove to them that he didn't get to win anything at Spurs because it's a sports team. They never win anything. Mourinho that won trophies in literally every club. That he's coached. Did he win any at Sports? Conte the same thing. So they could go ahead handsomely for all I care. And believe me, I still don't believe they're going to win anything. And Jerry Z, thank you so much for bringing that up. Let's see what else we have here. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, being small doesn't mean that you aren't strong. To be honest, look at kind of. Thank you. I have to say, this is actually the first delicious comment of the day from my bro Wally Waldo. In some cases, yeah, it's a concern. But if that player is aggressive enough and physical enough, quick enough, I think those 3 points we just mentioned, they make up for the lack of height, if that's an issue for you. I think the reason why Chelsea are struggling in the league is because of their players are not training enough, and the money spent. And you could argue not good for me. I'd say as much as I don't think everything, I don't think the reason we're here isn't just down to the manager. You could say, but one of the biggest reasons is that we've not been coached enough, and we haven't had managers who, you know,
Coach,
practically good enough. Yeah, go ahead, Bobby.
we have to face reality.
Mhm.
There are a lot of excellent diminutive and small players, of course. Makaleli, Kante, they are exceptions, not the rule.
Mhm.
Size matters. It is lack of size that causes a lot of the handicap in Kepa's game. Kepa is actually a very good goalkeeper, but he's not big enough. Now, when Chelsea brought in Obi Mikel into the CDM role to take over from Makaleli, why Mikel was one of the reasons people failed to acknowledge that why Mikel was so good was that he solidified the defense. Why? Mikel was excellent aerially. Corners, he was heading out balls. In fact, one of our most famous goals in the Champions League quarterfinals against Benfica, when he headed out the ball to, oh gosh, what's the name of that guy that scored our second goal?
The
Uh,
Portuguese,
yeah,
Raul Meireles, that did that celebration like this
Miralles.
after
Yeah,
scoring
you
that
remember
goal,
that? That
and the
that was a
priest.
Mikel header that went to him. Mikel used to head out a lot of balls. Now, if you watch our CDMs or our pivot sixes, look at
Mhm.
a lot of the goals we concede. It's because they're not there. They're aerially incapable. Look at the game against Everton. where was it Enzo or whoever was sandwiched between two big, tall Everton players. That's a reality. You know, we can't keep
Hmm.
pretending that it doesn't exist. It exists, especially in the Premier League. And you
Hmm.
must have, we're not saying be land of the giants, but you know, Mikel was tall, but he wasn't a giant. I think it was about 6 foot, 6 foot 1, thereabouts. If you're around that height and you've got a leap on you, you can compete. And that's the point we're making, or was it Miguel was 6 foot 2, something like that. But you know, that is adequate. Look at Declan Rice, 6'2". I mean, that's adequate. You need in your midfield one tall player. When Chelsea was most formidable in that 2017 15 game win run that helped us win the league, was every time we played Matic with either Fabregas or Kante or both in the midfield, we were unstoppable. But whenever we played Kante with Fabregas, as good as they were, that was when we were very weak. So we have to address that, and we need to look at the physicality of players in midfield. That's just the reality.
Yeah, balance is key. I'm gonna catch up with what we have in the chat, and then we can start the keep or sell exercise. And those in the chat, you participate quite a lot via a poll. This says we gave them Conte and Mourinho. So what's their problem? Mark Cardozo, Bumfordino, I like that one. Yeah, and they're still complaining, and they still couldn't win. But managers who's won, or the managers who's won, stop literally every club they've coached, except at Tottenham. And yeah, that's the business. My prediction for tonight's game would be a 2-0 to AC Milan. Then it will go to extra time, and AC Milan will win on penalties. I will remember you said that, Patrick Joyce. Keep dropping the likes on the scene, people. Remember, we're shooting for 200 likes, and we're still just at 45. Coach, you're clearly underestimating the numbers in our squad. You need to start on the Excel sheet as soon as possible. Otherwise, I am pretty sure we will need to sit through the night to go through everyone, or maybe continue next time. But I understand what you mean. Coach, how different will this new Champions League format be for Chelsea for 2024? I haven't taken a look at the new rules. I have to take my time to read it and then understand everything clearly. So I'm not going to just say it is like that and pretend I know at this point. No, I don't know. I have to go read it myself, and you know, before I try to educate or anybody on the new format. If that makes sense. Look at Man City, Arsenal, Man United, etc. They all have a physical DMs. No matter, yeah, even though. But the most difficult thing is to find one who can be physical and at the same time be good on the ball. You can say, yeah, but it takes some, it will take some scouting work to get those. This season, we were so poor in performance. Chelsea do something, and that's David Tairu. Nice to see you. Keep dropping the likes on the scene, people. 45 likes. Remember, we're shooting for 100 likes. We should get it to 50 and shoot for 100. We need a player like Mikel Matic, stature, in my opinion. Those players, they were excellent. The most underrated, you could say. Some people don't understand the importance in the team. And in Mikel's case, is often accused of just passing sideways and backwards. But that's how the manager wanted him. Managers he played under wanted him to apply himself. Coach, isn't it fun that we are the first team in England to have qualified for 2024 UEFA Champions League? Can you elaborate? Like I said, I'm not well too acquainted with that the new rule. I want you to explain. I'm not sure what you're referencing there. Let's see what we have. Yes, Bobby, you need both small but also size mix, not just all small. Yeah, the mix will go a long way for us. And let's see what else we have here about the European Super League. It wouldn't be a Super League without any English teams. You know that quite well. And I'm going to say what I've said before. I think it will re-emerge. And if that happens again, I think it will come back in a manner that it won't have a problem. You could argue that what happened at first was them testing the waters, trying to get what would be allowed and what would not be allowed. And from the backlash, I think they would do their research and come with something that a lot of people will not, you know, will not be against. I think it will come again, and if it comes the second time, I think it survives. We don't need an untamed slapping man in our team. Wow. Yeah, keep dropping the likes, people. 46. Remember, we're shooting for 200 today, and we're still not even up to 100. Kante's best performance was when he played alongside Matic. Chelsea need at least one tall and bully midfielder. You can
Absolutely.
argue that. Logan, always nice to see you. Thank you so much for finding the time to join in the show. Bobby, you have something else to say?
Yes, absolutely. That's a very good comment. The 2024 Champions League qualification that they're talking about, are you sure they don't mean the World Club Cup?
I think
Because
maybe the World Club Cup.
The World Club Cup format has changed, and we qualified as recent winners.
Yep.
So I think they're talking about the World Club Cup. I don't know if there's that much of a change to the Champions League. I don't recollect that. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think it's a new rule, and I think JC is elaborating in the chat, and I'll get to it in a bit. Ranking system. I think I first heard that from was it staff, but I see the race for the top 10 is still on for Chelsea. That depends how many points they finish with this season. Big up to you, Dan. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much. And Dan, when you get a chance, share the link to your channel so people can go check it out. Wait. How have we qualified for the 24 Champions League? There's a ranking system like JC is mentioning down there, and I'm not well acquainted with it, so I'm not going to go into it right now until I'm ready. Waldo, it hasn't happened yet. That's not till 2020, 24, 2025. Okay, so it's not in effect yet. Okay, let's see. What else do we have here? My bro, Mikhail up to Charles. Always nice to see you, brother. Thank you so much for finding the time to join in the show. What's what Kachila and his merry band of blues. Big up to you, brother. Always nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. We're getting into the keeper cell exercise very soon. The new rules gives a ranking system where a team which performs well in the UEFA Champions League gets to play in it. CFC are already qualified by virtue of winning it recently together with Real Madrid. The two teams are in. Wow. Okay. Well, thank you for presenting that in a very understandable manner. So that same rule that applies in the case of the Club World Cup is the same rule you're referencing. Okay, but I have to get myself acquainted with the new rules so I understand it quite well. But thank you so much, because I suspect the cameras are a way of keeping the owners out of Cobham too. That may well be the case, but that's hilarious. Keep dropping the likes, people. Two more to get it to 50. Remember, we're shooting for 200 likes, and we're still at 48. That's a long way to go. Please let's make it happen. This here says, okay, just having a conversation there with Wally Waldo. Let's see. This says, Chelsea have already qualified as a recent winners of UEFA Champions League and Club World Cup. Yep, that one I've heard that. I think it was Roger. Was it Roger? I think we had to look at something. I think Roger helped educate us on that one. But for the Champions League proper, I'm not well acquainted with that. But Roger, do you pick up? And I, uh, I don't know if I should give you time. Do you need to relax a bit, sip a coffee or two?
Big up,
Born
Roger.
ready,
Where you
sir.
been? You always leave me to start off on my own. What's going on?
So sorry, old bean.
And I've been torturing him.
No,
I
it's
did
always
enjoy
good.
that. I must confess, I did have a smile on my face.
Yeah,
Good morning, good
Uh,
afternoon,
just
gentlemen.
leaves me
Big
quiet
up,
in
Ola.
the corner.
Hola, senora.
He doesn't
Um,
let me talk. Mm.
So regarding this World Club Cup, it starts with a rolling 5 year. So because we've won in the last 5 years,
so we're in.
we're in like
Mhm.
Jim. Yeah, in like
And
three.
how about the Champions League aspect that Jesse is talking about?
With regards to what context?
He's saying we've already qualified for Champions League.
No. Well, for Champions League, what? Champions League, the actual top four. Champions League.
No, given that
He
we've
said
won it
2024.
recently. That's the argument. I think I'm not
Oh,
going to
I
get. Let's
see.
not. Yeah, I
Uh,
think it's something I have to look at myself. I'm not well acquainted with the new format or two, but
I
JC thinks,
honestly, I don't.
yeah.
I kind of recall something along those lines, but I can't recall immediately. I do remember the World Club Cup though. Um, so,
Yeah, I
but
don't
that's
remember anything with regards. That's new to me, which was why I said
no.
I'll
I'm
take
not
my
sure
time
if
to
it is.
research it also. Yeah.
Coach,
But
can I just say one quick thing about that World Club
no,
Cup, please? Please,
of course,
you see,
of course.
this is where when you have people that lack vision, it can be retrogressive to a club. Our winning that World Club Cup is massive. That is a future big competition. You
Here, here.
watch. And to have your name already on it, the prestige is huge. Look at how we've been given a pass already. We have to do everything we can to not only remain relevant on that stage, but to win that trophy again. Because time will tell. Remember, I mean, for those of you that read your history books, you will see how the Premier League used to balk at the European Cup back then. In fact, Chelsea was the first qualifier in Britain, but wasn't allowed to play back in 1955 as a result of us winning the league. And we had to pass up on it. And it was only until perhaps I think the late 60s, early 70s. I think after what happened to Man United with the Busby Babes, then
What the plane
the
crash?
yeah, the competition started being noticed, and then by the 1970s it just exploded. So the World Club Cup is a massive investment, and we
It's
should never
32 teams now, right, Bobby?
going into 2024-25. It will be, yes.
Yeah, 32 teams. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
All
don't know
right, let
how
me
they're
catch
going
up
to.
with what. Yeah, go ahead,
I don't.
Roger, if you were saying
I,
something.
I don't know how they're going to fit that into the schedule. These poor players are going to be run ragged. But after you've read something, I want to mention something. Please go ahead and read the backlog, sir.
Yeah, go ahead. Just 1 second. Go ahead. Mention it. Go ahead.
Okay. I listened to. I know Bobby. Don't crucify me for this, but I listened to Sky Sports where they talked about Pochettino, and basically they interviewed one of the journalists, Paul something, I forgot his last name, and a person called David Webb. He was head of the elite identification and development squad for Maurizio Pochettino
Yeah,
for
I
Spurs.
watched that as well.
Very interesting, informative, wasn't
Yeah.
it? And
It
so he
was
basically,
very.
the journalist said that Mauricio, oh, I'm just going to call him Poch, okay? He prefers 20 to 24 years of age, give or take a decade, for players, so he could work with them in many aspects. But and then
That's and I'm not. That's not shocking. His approach is very demanding.
yeah, yeah,
Lots of
yeah.
running.
No, no, indeed. And then David Webb said his actual preference is between 22 and 24 for certain positions. So I thought that was very interesting. And then the stat that really blew my mind from 2013 to 2017, 18, he was, he meaning Spurs, were ranked number one or number two 5 out of 7 years in kilometers covered per game.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of running.
It was that interview that finally changed my mind in favor of Poch. I thought it was very informative.
Yeah, well, there was another one before a couple of weeks ago, and it outlined. I'll send you the link, and it outlined basically how he puts defense as a premium. And as a goalkeeper, I like that.
All right, Rosa,
Sorry,
I'd
coach.
appreciate it if you can share those with me. Let me catch up with the chat so we'll go on to the keeper select
Yeah,
exercise.
of course.
Chelsea have already, I still don't think we have qualified, but I'm going to do my research even more. But yeah, I'm going to move on from that. It's going to happen the same to the Europa League and conference as well. Let's see. Jerry Z says, Coach, I am not, I am not as am not sure of this rule. Could you kindly elaborate? I cannot elaborate on what I'm not too sure about either myself. For all I know at this point is that we're not participating in the next edition of the Champions League. And if I do my research and find out otherwise, I'll let you know. But JC seems to be too certain that that's the case. For me, I'm not too sure. So I'm not going to say believe me because I think that's I don't think I think otherwise. Yeah. So do your own research yourself. And I don't have time to do that right now. Urate, Casado, and the midfield of three will be devastating and future-proof. Mo, nice to see you. I don't think we'll get them, the three of them. But let's see. The greetings, Phil R7, and I hope you're doing well. Mo, I hope you're doing well too. So are we going to play UEFA Champions League from September 2023? I don't know. I'm just going to say that again. I do not know. I'm not well acquainted with the new format. I'm going to do my research. Bali, Sega in hand, feet on decks, watching every training session live now. And playing FIFA at the same time. That would be enjoyable. And John says 52 likes. We're 56 likes now, people. I think we can get it to 100 as soon as possible. Remember, we're shooting for 200 likes. So keep dropping the likes on the stream. And thank you so much for finding the time to join in the show. John, thank you so much. And my bro, Adebayo Makunju, let's go. Roger and everyone else at all. What else do we have here? Everyone needs to hit the like button. Please keep dropping the likes if you haven't. We are already qualified for new Champions League, which starts in 2024. Okay. Maybe you say, I'm not sure what to make of that, but I'm once what somebody's asking, is it the one that starts in September? So there's a bit of mix up here. Maybe Jesse is mentioning. I'm not sure what edition. The one that starts in 2024, because another one will start in September. So if you're talking about the one that starts in 2024, maybe there's a chance we're in for that one, but I'm not too sure. I'm going to look at it. It is completely free to hit the like button. It doesn't cost anything. Keep dropping the likes, people. We're at 57 likes. Let's get it up, people. Thank you so much. What else do we have here? I hope this new Champions League format for 2024 is going to work. I think it will work. It gives more teams the opportunity. And you could argue they were quick to do that because maybe they want to, you can say appease more clubs or so. Because now they have a competitor in the Super League, and I'm sure UEFA are well aware that they're going to come back. Also, why would you say I'm not a Chelsea fan? The way you speak, the way you mention Chelsea whenever you talk about it, I am a fan of every football team in the world because I like football. Okay, there you go. Like I said, but that's by the way. It doesn't matter what club you support. Welcome here. Let's see. Big up, coach. Big up to you too. The Chelsea F.C. Always nice to see you. Let's see anything else. I should get here. Quickly. Why is this always slow? I don't like it when that happens. I'm not sure. You're using emojis there. The number of teams increases to 32 to 36 group. Will be a league phase. The top 8 in the league will qualify for the knockout. 9th to 24th will compete in a two-leg playoff to determine last 16. So it's not as just as simple as as maybe we're reading into your comment that we're going to participate in the next edition of the Champions League. Okay, that conversation there. Anything else? Big up to you too, Eugene. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much. Thank you, Roger, for sharing mouth-watering Poch stats. I am even more excited. I think I've always known he's a good manager, but we're all entitled to our opinion. Let me say, we'll all see things from different lenses, and some people will not come to the term that he's actually a good manager. New ranking system about well-performing in Champions League is fair. It means less English clubs in Europe for sure, or I understand. So nobody's too certain about that right now. Of course, you have to mention English clubs. Big up to you, Kuchila. Big up to you too. Let me just say Ima Igugu. That's Imamode Igugu. Nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining the show. So we go into doing this right away. We've talked about this. Roger, I don't know if you have any comments with regards to the camera. We should just move on. This comment from Frank, like I said, we don't need to know that. We know every player that starts, they have to earn their place in the team. Young or experienced, whoever they are. I don't think we need to waste time on that one, but we've talked about it. So let's go to this one here. Yeah, go ahead.
Coach, can I just talk for just about a minute to 2 minutes maximum before we start?
Go ahead,
I really
Roger.
disagree with what you chaps were saying. Height I think it was Casado that you were talking about earlier, about 15, 20 minutes ago. I actually, Bobby has a valid point. Regardless of how good you are as a player, if you're somewhat diminutive, not exactly an NBA center, you're going to need height in certain situations. You don't have to be 6'8", but it's the ideal height would be about 6'1" to 6'3", and and you need that. This is a very physical league, and especially if, for instance, in set pieces like corners, and and just in the midfield, closing down, height, lobs over. All these things matter. They really do. Now, there's always exceptions to the rule, and you're right, as Bobby said, they are the exception, not the rule. I could not agree more. I think listen, it sounds really rude to discriminate by height, and I'm not doing
No,
that.
I don't think it's a discrimination by
No,
any
no,
means.
no, 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 no.
It's just, yeah.
Yeah,
We're
I just
seeking
want,
balance. We want our team to have a
yeah.
balance. We want to have a balanced team.
And
But
I'm
go
sure
ahead with what
Bobby's
you're
the same.
saying.
I just don't want to come across as like a heightist, you got sexist,
Or you just
racist.
being proactive by putting out the disclaimer there.
Yeah, really. Because, no, but seriously, all joking aside, I think it's important in certain positions that height is required. My other thing that I want to say is, and Bobby and I will disagree probably for the next couple of centuries, and I use that first leg of Liverpool versus, Man City versus Real Madrid. And you have two outstanding, I think, world-class keepers. Two of the top five, shall we say? And I think one of, if not the best, in the last 2 or 3 years. And they were beaten from 22 to 25 yards out, either low, down in the corner. And it wasn't even, neither shot was actually tight in the corner. Like I remember when Leicester scored against us at Wembley, and then when Man City scored against us at Wembley, they were in the corner. And then, what's his name? The right back for Liverpool, he scored twice, I think, in a couple of years. I'm not sure whether they were against Kepa or not, but they were worldies. No one stopping it. But those two goals last week were not worldies with regards to tight in the corner, like hitting the crossbar and the post. They weren't. It's because if you give anyone enough space and they're clinical enough, today's ball is not like the 1960s, 50s, and 70s, where the ball didn't move. They were leather. They were like a medicine ball. But any keeper, especially even when you're world class, isn't going to stop it, if that makes sense. And yes, I understand that they could have been the exception, and maybe they both had off days. I get that. But my point is that if you give enough time and distance and you don't close down, they're going to beat you a lot of the time. Yes, it has to be a worldie, I get that. But in Kepa's defense, he's been beaten in those scenarios by worldies that I don't think Courtois is saving or Mendy is saving. That's my only point.
And of course, you have to protect your.
And it's not so much height; it's wingspanning. Kepa's point.
No, I understand. I think that
But Bobby is correct, though. If Kepa is to be our keeper, which I don't think he's going to be from all the reports, he does have to improve aerially dominating his box. And that took De Gea 1.5 to 2 seasons when he came to England. And don't forget, Kepa has only started, in total? 1.5 to 2 seasons. So that's my logic, anyway.
Yeah, I understand that logic, but go ahead.
I think Kepa is good enough to win the Champions League and the Premier League and any silverware with Chelsea if they're a good enough team and if they do the basics.
Here's the thing. Something I'm going to say quickly because I really want us to get started with the exercise.
That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, something I want to say quickly. Sometimes when you look at the team, you have certain issues. You can mask certain issues with your strategy. If in fact, that's not me saying that's the case. If in fact it is true, which I haven't done my research to say that's the case. Every time somebody shoots from outside the box, it goes in. Then you start solving the problem by making sure the 2-6s or the defenders, close down the player before they shoot, and that has always been the shoot. Those that have taken the shots in most cases have too much time. on the ball.
Yeah.
But I'm going to move on from that. I really
Yeah.
do want us to get to the to the keeper cell exercise. And I'd say if you had if you finish speaking without
I have. I have.
speaking on behalf of your union, which you lead, the goalkeepers
Yeah.
union, and ask you for your ID. But that's why with sports legend such as, and that's my draw. A lot of people miss all it. Sports legend such as Lionel and the four get watch their blessings. They said he cannot remain jobless for even on Sky Sports. And he's a good manager in my opinion. A lot of people don't give him credit for what he was able. The fact that he overachieved at sports. Some people think otherwise, but that's I see. I have every right to think he's done quite well. If Man City don't beat Real Madrid tomorrow, they will never win. Here's the thing, just one for the last time I'm going to talk about that Champions League. We're not here to talk about that. I think whoever wins tomorrow wins it. That's how I see it, and I think a City will overcome Real Madrid. Um, I agree with Rogers. I always believe that height is important in certain areas. You need to have it at least a 4 to 5 players in your starting 11 that are over 6 feet. Uh, Height is an added advantage, and having it, I think, will go a long way for you. Look at Kai Havertz. Every time he started defending the corners for us, you have to make sure the ball goes up very high to get it well over him, and that's an advantage, really. I don't think Kepa is good enough for UEFA Champions League, but for top four, he can help instead of throwing money now on second or third targets. I think we should be, spent wisely. If we don't spend wisely in the summer, I don't think we'll make progress. We need to be strategic with our spending. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. 61 likes. Let's get it to 70 and shoot for 100 as soon as possible. Roger, totally on board with you. I also do not see any valid reason to spend 80 million to replace Kepa with Onana. I've done that one. I've done my research. I think he's the better of the two, at least this season. Does not make any sort of sense. Onana is not superior to Kepa. I've said that myself. Even though I think he's a bit taller, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Um, are you serious, Kepa? I would go pick him up and drop him back off to Spain.
But by
Yeah,
the
we
way,
all see things. We all see things differently. Yeah.
by the way, Mendy, inform Mendy, as we've seen, 2 years ago, he can, with him in goal, we can win the league. We can win any silver with him if he's in form. Right now, he's currently not in form.
No, he's not.
No,
It doesn't, and that's last game didn't help either. But I think
no,
he's well equipped. He's so
yeah,
well equipped to do even better than Kepa. But he has to
I
go take a
agree.
look at himself in a mirror, do
Yeah,
self-assessment, and work to improve. Big up to you too, Chelsea, all the way. Thank you so much for saying that. This year, from let us not forget, Kepa played a very less game when our best defense was performing. Rudiger, Thiago Silva, Christensen, Kepa played only cup games with them and produced clean sheets and led us to the final. Actually, that Rogers' cousin ended up dropping him. That's one thing I will never forgive Thomas Tuchel for dropping him in that was the Carabao Cup final. It didn't just make any sort of sense for me. Uh, Much like goalkeeper, they can pass. He likes to build from the back. Kepa will not fit in.
huh?
Kepa will not fit in. Okay, maybe Mendy. We need Onana or Emi Martinez, unless Mendy is revitalized. Is
Kepa
Emi
is
Martinez good on the ball actually?
listen. I think Kepa is. I think his best attribute as a goalkeeper. There's many different attributes. I think he's outstanding as a goalkeeper. I'm talking about technically with his feet. If you have a look at all the elite goalkeepers, the top 5 to 10 in the world this year, I've seen them all make horrible mistakes and multiple mistakes. And we haven't seen that from Kepa that has led to a goal.
All right.
He's been very consistent distribution wise.
All right, people keep dropping the likes. We're at 61. We need 39 more to get it to 100. Let's make it happen. Remember, we're shooting for 200 today. Get rid of Kepa even for free. Kepa isn't a keeper to rely on. Chelsea must bring in a better goalkeeper. I mean, he's a good goalkeeper, but do I think we can do better? You could argue that. But yeah, I agree. Casillas and Navas are not that tall and still performed well. I think everything comes down to how protected you are.
Peter
Goalkeepers
Shilton
need.
also. You know, when I was growing up, there was a England goalkeeper called Peter Shilton. I think he's our most capped player.
What's the other England goalkeeper? What's his name? David. How tall is he? Is he a tall
You're
goalkeeper?
talking about the Everton goalkeeper. I think he's like
okay. Well, yeah. Let's move.
The Everton goalkeeper. I think he's like
Is it David James?
No. I forgot his name. He's left-footed. I've gone brain dead. But no, he's about the same height as Kepa, give or take an inch.
All right. Let me get what we have in the chat. Let's move on, please. Otherwise, we're going to run out of time. We are linked with David Raya. I saw highlights on YouTube. Not too sure on him. You guys can watch and judge yourself. And usually, I like to look beyond the highlights, because highlights only highlights of what he did good, not highlights of his mistakes. Let's see what we have here. What else we have? Virtual Oath Studio. Okay, I've read that one. This is I inform Mendy played all his game with Rudiger, Thiago, and Christensen in front of them with back three. Without them, Mendy has been exposed. I think that's a solid argument himself on its own. I agree with you. Only Southgate and English believe it. Can you stop mentioning the nationality thing? I honestly don't like that. Honestly, just if you want to mention the particular manager, just go ahead with that. Honestly, I respect you and you know I love you, but
I
we stop doing that, please?
I think every nationality uses statistics in computer
analysis. I don't know why. I don't know.
I don't get that.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I think Martinez is not a build-up goalkeeper. I don't know. I'm not convinced with regards with his ability on the ball. Poch likes goalkeepers who can play from the back. That's a lot of nonsense. Lloris, Donnarumma, all cannot play from the back. Donnarumma, at least, I think he tries, but that's not his strongest suit. I just have to say that quickly. With Mendy, it has to do with a contract. His form has gone down after contract fell through. It's all about the Benjamins. I think his form, he started having form issues even before the contract issues. That's how I see it. Transfer window is key. We have to also be strategic in the market. And that's his coach. I said it here. And underline it. If we sell Kepa, we will regret it. I don't know what the club wants to do. I think Kepa's leaving the club or staying will most likely come down to whether he's he wants to take a pay cut or not. Brentford goalkeeper, what's his name again? I keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. We're at 63 likes. We need 37 more to get it to 100. Let's make it happen, people. Thank you so much for that. Goalkeeper playing with boots overhyped thing. You could argue that, yeah. Thank you. That's coming from Eugene there. The only goalkeeper I would take over Kepa would be Keylor Navas. Young ones from Real Madrid. Keylor Navas, I like him. He's done well for Navas. Have done well. Is it Nottingham Forest? He's the reason why they haven't considered a million goals. Sameka Chris Bro, I would like to see Pochettino playing Casadei. He is the new Declan Rice. Okay. I don't know him that way to start comparing the two of them. Thanks, Roger, for correcting me on Kepa's stats. Jerry Z, thank you so much for being so kind to recognize, okay, you were wrong and he's correct. Kepa has made mistakes leading to goals. Minus goal at the beach where Kepa passed directly to him and he scored. We should stop being selective. Nobody's been selective here. I knew the moment I saw you, I knew you were going to start the blend game.
I said this season, right? So Mane played in the Premier League this season? No. Okay.
Kepa isn't perfect. Kepa has made mistakes. Yeah. Many has made mistakes. So I think we're doing it equally. Nobody's been selective here. We recognize Kepa has issues. I do recognize that he has problems. He's not perfect. Mendy either is, and I did say clearly, Mendy is capable of doing better. He has I should say, he's well equipped to be doing better than Mendy. But he has to look himself in the mirror, do some self-assessment, and then check. Start working on improving himself as a goalkeeper.
Mendy has the potential. If he gets, I don't know what his issue is. He could have personal issues. Could be anything. But he's out of form. But if he gets back to form, he's an outstanding goalkeeper. Outstanding.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Yeah, he's not the greatest with his feet, but let me tell you, his all-around goalkeeping portfolio is excellent.
Yeah, but unfortunately, right now where we are, given the contract situation, given that let me just say the contract situation, and plus, it doesn't seem like it's been easy for him to regain the form he showed when he joined us. I think that maybe the ultimate solution for him may well be for him to move on and take a fresh start. I think that sometimes it can help players regain form, if that makes sense. I'm not going to read too much now. After I know where I'm going to stop. Once I get to Mesole's message, we're going to go into the exercise. Otherwise, we will stuck here and not do anything else. We agree. Nobody said he hasn't. With goalkeepers, bro, I would like to give Slonina a chance. I'm not sure. I think he's too young. I think he needs some experience. That's me. That's how I see it. It all comes down to what the manager wants to do. Smash the like button, people, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Send my people, my bro, Chelsea all the way. Thank you for saying that. 64 likes. Let's get it to 100 as soon as possible. Courtois is best. You don't have to say the second part. You don't have to say whether you like it or not. I agree. He's one of the best goalkeepers right now.
I think he's the best in the world.
Yeah, he's a good shot stopper. Yeah.
His all-around game is, he's not the greatest with his feet, but at his best, he's the best in the world. It's simple as that. He was named man of the match at the Champions League final last year.
Yeah, he's an excellent shot stopper. Donnarumma, go ahead.
He prevented Liverpool from winning. He basically saved Real Madrid. Without him, they wouldn't have won the Champions League last season. It's simple as that.
Yeah. Donnarumma was never Poch's first choice. Poch's hands were tied on his back to play what the Emir of Qatar wanted. Poch built from the back. It is his DNA. I think, but how about Lloris? Lloris isn't that good on the ball, but maybe he just liked him for other reasons. Kepa has improved many-fold from Lampard's first season, but Kepa also had to deal with a bad defense, unsupportive manager, and lack of confidence. I would say Kepa finally has matured. I think he's matured. He also leads too. Pochettino's son will work with him as a fitness coach. Ladipo Mesole, I've read that too. It looks like Mendy forgot how to become a goalkeeper. He lost his footballing ability since that AFCON he won with Senegal a year ago.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to go that far. But big up to you, my Bats 05. Eugene, okay, you're having a conversation with Eugene. I'm not going to read that. So let's start here, Roger. Let's get into it. The nitty gritty, like what's his name would say.
The nitty gritty.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to start. Let's start. The first player here is Omari Hutchinson. And I'm going to be asking the players. Okay, we have three. How many options there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options there. The first option.
He's the ripe old age of 19 years and 6 months and 17 days, coach.
Mm-hmm.
He should retire. He's getting too old. That's ridiculous. If he's good enough, regardless of age, then he can play. But I think the chances are, I don't know. Listen, this chap, if you listen to the interview, and I'll forward you the link, this chap, Poch, and his staff, he likes that age group. So I have no idea. I would have assumed that he would go out on loan, but, Poch is going to look at everyone in pre-season. He's going to work them hard and then come to a conclusion after he's seen them probably mostly on the training field and then in quote-unquote pre-season games. But I think there's a strong possibility for Omari Hutchinson to go out on loan.
I think here's the two obvious options for Omari Hutchinson. You could say are to keep him or for him to go out on loan, to sell or to loan out. Honestly, I don't think he's mature enough to be part of the squad.
I hope not sell. I hope not.
It wouldn't make any sense.
I think that's where a satellite club comes in, so that if we buy ABC club, we can transfer him there to, let's say, to France. Let's say we buy a certain team in Ligue 1 and we can loan him out there. to our satellite club and let him progress there, or in Portugal, wherever, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is why they've bought these very young, potentially high players, high ceiling players. I think he fits into that category. Listen, he could turn out to be a star and be a starter for us for every single game next year. We have no idea, but based on the very little I've seen of him, coach, this is because of this man. If it wasn't Poch,
Guys, I'm really sorry. I'm in another meeting. I'll try and come back if we
you're
finish
dead
the
to me,
book.
Bobby. Dead, I tell you. No problem.
All right, Bobby. Whenever time allows, go ahead, Roger.
Yeah, yeah. You can interrupt me anytime, Bobby. Seriously. Um, I think there's a strong possibility that he's going to go with a hell of a lot of youth. I really do. Don't get me wrong. He's not going to, you know, drop all the senior players. Of course not. That would be suicidal. But I think he's going to probably surprise us with a lot more youth than normal. I would assume, based on the interviews I've seen from his previous backroom staff.
Yeah, to me, I think a loan option, and like you said, you did say something regarding the club's plans to start satellite clubs.
Yeah.
That way, if we're sending a player to one of those clubs, we can be assured that he's going to be starting games. But in most cases, loans don't really work out. Let me just say,
No, I agree.
half of the time, it doesn't work out because the club, loaning club, they're not obliged to be starting the player.
Unless
Yeah,
they're desperate for talent because of an injury-riddled season, or all of a sudden they've lost certain players in that particular position and they can't afford to, like in the Spanish league, because they're so handcuffed because of the salary cap they have. So there's certain scenarios that could work, but I get what you're saying 100%, coach.
here's where we have a problem. There are limits
Houston.
to, yeah, yeah. So, and thank you for mentioning this, Constantine Dante. There are limits to how many players we can actually loan out.
Hmm. I'm not sure how
So
many it is. I remember
I'm
there
not.
was a limit.
Yeah. I
But
don't know, but
have
go
you
ahead.
seen how many players we have loaned out though? We have 22 players on loan right now. If you go to the Chelsea website, I think it's 22 the last time I checked last week. So it can't be.
It's 22. Okay.
Yeah, go to Chelsea FC, the official page. I'll go there right now. And you can look at the women's team, the men's team, the under 17s, whatever it is, and players on loan. And it lists everyone, like Ampadu, like, don't forget, what's his name? Bakayoko is technically still our player and he's out on loan.
I think we may end up terminating his
Yeah,
contract
yeah,
because
for sure,
nobody's
for
going to buy
sure.
him.
And
Yeah.
that's the one player that I thought was going to be a superstar for us. I got that one so wrong. But
Hmm.
do you understand? We have 22 players like Lukaku, etc. We got a plethora of players. Maybe it's a certain limit for in the Premier League, but there are so many that are playing overseas. It's
Okay.
ridiculous.
Let's hear you, Tabejo. Big up to you.
Hello, Tobago.
Uh, what do you think, Tabejo? What do you think we'd do with Omari Hutchinson? To me, I think obviously it's loan. You can say he's not ready right now, and he hasn't played that much to say he gets a chance on the watch. But your thoughts?
Yeah, to be honest, I think Omar Hutchinson should be loaned because he's still young. He needs to develop more, especially in the Premier League.
Yeah, I get it. He needs to develop really. Let's see what else we have. Anybody in the chat? Does anybody have a say there? I don't know if you're still speaking to Beho. You let me know. Let's see. Let's see what else we have here. Let's see. Okay. It's a scripture. I really hope you can sit with Lawrence and Stewart and Podge. No. I've looked beyond becoming a coach 10 million years ago. Big up, coach, and everyone in this group. Big up to you too, Michael Obinka. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for finding the time to join in the show. We're talking about Omari Hutchinson. To me, clearly, he needs to develop. I don't think he's ready, especially that he hasn't played too much with the first team and we didn't hear. We haven't heard that much from with regards to we haven't heard much of him with the academy too. 72 million wasted on Kepa. If he was good, Chelsea would have bought Mendy. Would not have bought Mendy. Okay, thank you for saying
Yeah,
that. I appreciate that.
22 players, coach.
Yeah. 22 players are out on loan. Okay, thank you for
Yeah.
confirming that. So we're talking about Omari Hutchinson. I think that one is an obvious decision. What is the long-term and goal of the new owners to win and compete EPL and UEFA Champions League consistently? Yep, you can argue that. That's a long-term. They want to win. And I know, like, we had a conversation yesterday where we agreed they're just trying not to overpromise. They just want to underpromise and overdeliver. I think that's what they want to do. And no matter how you say it, the truth remains winning. Everything again, it's about winning. If you don't win, you're not going to get big name sponsors and all that, and the club will start losing its value if you, if we start to, accept mediocrity. Yeah, Kepa will go for sure. There's no place for Kepa on the pitch. The attitude is also not desirable. Kepa attitude of late, I think that's one thing I can only look at, and that's issue with when Sari was still our manager. Beyond that, I think it's been you could say he's been an exemplary professional. Actually, I think he's matured so well. He leads also. We will need to sell lots, as I think only like 8 or so are allowed to loan out from now on. Did you say anything to that effect, Roger?
Yeah, Constantine, what is your source on that? Is that just the Premier League or is that UEFA? Because I honestly, with all due respect, you could be 100% correct. I don't recall that. That doesn't mean that you're wrong, because my brain is the size of a flea's left testicle. So um, I just don't recall, to be honest with you. I know we have currently 22 players out on loan that are paid first team players.
Hmm. And here's the thing. More importantly, and that's not whatever we decide with the player. Even if we have more players, if we select more players to be loaned out than is allowed, then it's up to the club to decide what they do with the rest of the players.
I know we
That's,
have to have 8 quote unquote homegrown players, I believe, in a squad, if I'm not mistaken, which means three or more years under a certain age that have played or been a part of a squad for at least 3 years. It doesn't have to be consecutive in a squad in the UK. That's the definition of a homegrown player. So I know there's 8 of
but you
them.
understand why I'm saying we shouldn't worry about how many players we
Yeah.
have lined up to be loaned out. It's up to the club to sort it out, loan out as many as allowed, and
You know
do
what
whatever
though,
they want to do with the
Coach?
rest.
I
Yeah.
do remember last year UEFA looking at the loan issue, because they looked at the fact that we use buying young players and then putting them out as loan as a business plan, and they
Hmm.
didn't like it. And I remember Sky Sports was reporting, or was it ESPN was reporting, that UEFA were looking to put an end to that. But I don't ever recall anything coming out of that since then. So unless I missed it, which is possible.
Yeah, I agree with you. It says Hutchinson is a very good young talented player. We cannot afford to lose him. So he
Yeah.
needs to be sent out on loan to a club where he's going to be guaranteed a starting place. Nice guy. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And this here says, let's see, 4 in Premier League only. 4 in the Premier League only in the coming season. Wow. I think it wasn't that the same the past season. I'm not sure.
What
Thank
was
you,
that?
Contender FC, for becoming a member again. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Let's see what else we have. I like this new exercise. You got a better than lineup exercise.
Oh,
Well,
sorry, Coach. Is Constantine talking about we're only allowed to loan out 4 players from our squad to clubs in the Premier League? Is
yeah,
that what
that's what
he's
he just
alluding?
mentioned
Oh,
now. Yeah.
sure. Yeah. But we're allowed to loan out to other leagues, as many as we want to,
Wow. I'm
which is what
Yeah.
we've
Go
done.
ahead.
If you look at all the players on loan, they're all in European mainland teams, like
Hmm.
Casado, like Lukaku, like Bakayoko, Hudson Odoi, you know, people like that, Gusto,
Mm.
Ampadu. Where's Malang Sarr playing? He's playing in France, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think
So
Monaco. I
yeah. So
think, yeah,
most of
Monaco. Yeah.
yeah. So most of these players are not playing in the Premier League. They're loaned overseas. Okay, I get it. I see. I see what
Hmm.
Constantine's talking about.
And Eugene here says, I would give a chance to Hutchinson and send Madrid out on loan. That's just you
What?
reinforcing your argument that you don't
Really?
think, we don't need to argue that really. You know him, you know his argument with regards to Madrid. There is some loophole to exploit. Can you elaborate? I want to know. This says Pochettino wants Napoli defender Minjoa, and he's a good defender. I don't think we'll be signing too many defenders. Onana has more confidence than Kepa of the Laga. Wow. Chelsea needed to sell players like Kovacic. We'll get to them one by one. McDonald might, if we get to that player, then make your argument, the pause there. We can before his contract. Okay. Let me see what else we have. What do we have here? Why is this slow again? This is coach. Now I understand. Understand why it took so long for Portugal to reach Chelsea. I am sure the exercise you're doing right now is why they have been what they've been doing for the last 3 weeks. It's a chance. I think
Yeah.
they probably must have taken it to look at the squad and say, what are we going to do here with this player, the other player, and the other player? Yeah. Let's see. This is becoming slow. Get some of the homegrown players from the academy and sell the likes of Mount, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Gallagher, together with non-homegrown for FFP reasons. We'll see. We're just going to try and be sensible when deciding what player stays and what player leaves. Let's see. From 1st of July, clubs will only be able to have 8 players loaned out and 8 loaned in during a season. That number will go down to 7 from July 2023 and will reduce again to 6 from July 2024. And we just said, okay, we're just going to put players in that category.
Hey,
It's up to
yeah,
now.
Constantine. Can I ask you what is your source? I'd like to look it up if I may. Is it from the actual Premier League itself, or UEFA, or I'm just curious. That's all. Thank you for updating.
All right, Constantine, update us on your source there. Malang better than Badia Chile. I actually did think Sa was good. I think he was just at the time where we were struggling defensively. He was just being the one that was singled out. Campus of Mexico was one of the
Hmm.
best in his. What's his first name again?
That
And he
name
was he,
sounds really familiar.
is it George Campos? I think was it George? He's a goalkeeper, a flamboyant one at that. Um,
Yeah. Is he the guy?
yeah,
Is he the chap that does the back heel save, that jumps in the air?
That one is that one is Colombian.
Oh, he's
The one you talked
Colombian.
about
Okay.
is Colombian, and I'm trying to remember his name.
He was a character, flamboyant
Valderrama,
indeed. Yeah.
Carlos Valderrama.
Yeah. Good memory, coach.
Just reading our news outlet. Okay, thank you so much. That works too.
Hmm.
Um, this says here, Malak Sa can compete with Kukurea. You could argue that. I think Sa, for me, I think he's a good player, but that's me. But Shila
No,
is our
Marlon
best.
Starr?
Yeah,
No.
I think he's a good player. I think here's the
Oh.
thing. In my opinion, the disclaimer first of all, what happened. Yeah, it happened when we had lots of issues, but people
Yeah, no, I
weren't paying.
agree.
Yeah, people weren't paying attention to where the issues were coming from, which is a midfield area. They weren't doing enough to protect the defense, and
Yeah, perhaps he
it was
wasn't given a fair break because of the instability of the squad. So, and
exactly. But
he's and
yeah, we
he's very
weren't.
young. Yeah,
Yeah,
and he was played out of position a few times. I get it,
yeah.
but and you know what? Maybe he's mature. Just yeah. But I didn't like
I
him.
think it's probably too late, and I don't know the nature of his loan too.
And we got
The
him for
nature of,
free, didn't we? So if we sell him, we actually make pure profit.
yeah. So we move on. The next player here. This is Ian Matson. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's him. Yeah, this is Ian Matson. To
Yeah.
me, um, he falls into one of these categories either as a starting player or as a rotational player. Let's just put him as a rotational player right now. But either way, the starting players, a starting player can, a rotational player can actually start over the starting player. So these two rows, row one and row two, you could argue they don't differ. because any player from both rows can start. So what you think, Roger? Ian
He's
Martin.
he's just turned 21 2 months ago. Um, he's so young. Where's he playing? I'm not
He
sure
just got
where.
promoted with is it Burnley? Yeah, Burnley with Vincent Company, and he's been one of the best players.
He's Dutch,
And
right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, I think he's on the last year of his contract. He's
Oh,
on the
is he
last year.
really?
Yeah, I think so. And getting him to extend would have to take, he would take the club, letting go either of Ben Chilwell or let me check his contract again. Either Ben Chilwell or what's his name or Michael Correa to accommodate him because I don't think he'd agree to come back if the club cannot make space for him. But you go ahead. And
You
by the
know,
way, the poll that asked the question, Omari Hutchinson, uh, yeah, 70% says loan him out. Only 30% says sell him. I don't think we should sell him. I think such a talent that I think he will come good, but he needs it to play constantly to for that talent to for his potential to materialize. Go ahead.
is it Bobby that loves Matson? One of the panelists loved Matson.
I like him
Um,
too. I think
yes,
he's a good player.
I honestly haven't seen enough of him, so I feel a bit. I don't want to talk out of my wazoo. A wise man once said. So, um, sorry, I could resist.
No, you're good,
Um,
but I think it's good. But go ahead with what you were saying. I want to ask those in the in there
I,
what
I,
they.
I honestly have a feeling that he's going to get a really good look at by Poch. You know that he's going to see in the interview. He's basically what's going to happen is he's going to spend a lot of time viewing these players on tape, which he's probably already done because he's had
And
discussions
probably
with.
knows a lot of them
Yes.
well.
And they talked about in the interview that he's sat down, him and his staff have sat down with the executives and have gone through the roster before
Mhm.
signing this contract with Chelsea. And because they have to be on the same page, football philosophy wise, and what they believe, their ethos and the players, and they would have gone through the roster with obviously caveats of what he's going to see during preseason. And what he does is he's going to not only know them on the training ground, but he likes to sit down and talk with them and get to know them and understand them. He's going to teach them things like teach them the basics of manners and etiquette, like always standing up and shaking people's hand for the team players, for the back staff, for the journalists. No matter what, he wants them to be a family and to understand how to respect each other. And so he wants to get to know them and understand their
Mhm.
backgrounds and so forth. So it all depends on that. There's so many variables, but I think that Poch is going to have a look at such young talents as Matson, and I think he stands a good chance of making a squad potentially.
Yeah. For Matson, uh, for me, the spelling of his name, my goodness. Just give me one
Yeah,
second.
I got it. If you want it, it's Matsen.
Okay, I got it correct, but this is not recognizing it. Matson, I think, is a good player, and his Chelsea contract, from what I'm seeing here, expires 2024, so he has just
Oh
a year left
wow!
in his contract. Yeah, and like I argued, I think he would take selling either of Kukurea and
So,
or Ben
coach,
Chilwell to let him know,
w-
okay, there's space here for you. Go ahead.
we have a lot of players where their contracts are running out very shortly. Do you think it's because of the geopolitical circumstance where we were not allowed to negotiate even with current players? Do you think that's put a lot of these contracts at risk?
Very possible. You can argue at the time where we were fighting, busy fighting for our lives. Had it not been for that, because it was a serious distraction. Uh, those in charge, they could have, had the time to
Their hands
focus
were
on
tied, weren't they?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but they didn't. The issues then was serious. We weren't even
Yeah,
sure
but
whether we are going to
this
survive
is
that or
this
not.
is what Bobby's alluding to. Those sanctions put Chelsea in a very difficult position for X amount of months where we couldn't
Hmm.
even talk and negotiate with our own players to either renew or extend contracts.
Yeah.
And we are in this position due to that. So we're playing catch up, so to speak.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it didn't help Marcus either. Even I get it. We had issues. Some of those situations where we brought them upon ourselves, but
Yeah,
that
Eugene,
didn't help. Yeah,
I agree with Eugene. Badishile our best centre back
yeah,
prospect.
he is. No
Yeah,
arguing that.
yeah,
He's
it's
an intelligent player and all that. Yeah, keep
he's
dropping the likes. Go ahead, Roger. You were saying something.
no, it's he he exceeds my expectations each time he plays.
Yeah, I agree with you. Keep dropping the likes, people, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Loophole is does not apply to players under 21. And this says from a lot of people, Marcelo, George Campos, the colorful Mexican, and yeah, he greeted the fantastic Colombian. Yeah. Not the Colombian I mentioned. Was that the wrong one? Did I mix the name up? But yeah, George Campos very colorful, dresses very smart. I used to like just to see him how the way he dresses like as a goalkeeper. How can you put a player from Bali to be a starter immediately? He's a Chelsea player. He's only on loan at Bali. So yeah, when we're talking about next season, and that doesn't mean that that's going to happen if that makes sense. Hutchinson is a Hutchinson more talented than Madueke, more natural. Okay, I don't know. If there's natural and not natural in this case, but I get your point. Let's see what happens. We'll find out who's better than the other with time. Badishile and Kowa will have a very tough competition. Both look very good. Kachila, unless KK shifts to the right, KK will be attracted by Juventus. Your attack will dislodge a KK. Wow. Let me see what else we have here. Anything else? Um, this isn't highlighted immediately, and it's slowing the whole process down. Seldom would condense. I'm not sure what to make of that. I would like to see Gringo Slonina as a third choice goalkeeper. I think he most likely will go out on loan. He most
Yeah.
likely will go out on loan. We should stop keeping average players and get at least a 25 or solid players to compete if we want to get to the top. I will sell at least 15 players and bring in five. I think we're working with what we have here. Let's see. You can blame that on B. Johnson Roger. He's telling you. No warranted sanctions, all based on, yeah, allegedly. I understand where you're coming from. Keep dropping the likes, people. We need just 22 more likes to get it to 100. Let's make it happen. With 62 people watching, I believe we can do better than that. The squad is starting to look like a feeder team. We matured. Uh, uh, we matured players at 60% and kids 40% or lower. There must be a right balance. Yeah, we can actually always redo this, but in Kunku, we're just going to put him at the very top here. If that makes sense, I don't think anybody disagrees. If you disagree in the chat, you let us know. Let me bring you in.
Well, and Cuckoo,
Yeah, yeah.
he
Good
goes
Senate,
out on
right?
loan, coach. You read my mind.
Yeah, I'm with you. Let me ask you, Lewis Hall. To me, I think he should be part of the squad.
Oh, definitely. I think if he, for some reason, doesn't make the squad, I'll be very shocked.
Hmm.
He's proven this year that he's been a really bright spark. Really has, especially those two games, those cup games, both against City, by the way. He looked very good. Yeah, and listen, I cannot see unless I'm talking and assuming that he stays healthy. You know, if he's medically fit, I think he's a rotational player.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I think he's good enough. If we really if we want to have a good mix, and he's a good passer of the ball too. And he wasn't bad the last time he got a chance to play, even though he was played as a left back. Even if
He
you think
fit,
it's a
he
hybrid
fits
approach, to me it was awkward. That was awkward for me. Go ahead.
he ticks many of the boxes, the criteria that Poch likes. He's young. He's also a homegrown player. He's he covers the field. He's on the up. I cannot see him not making a double negative. I know, but I really can't see him missing the squad. I'd be shocked if he goes out on loan or we sell him. I'd be really
Yeah,
shocked.
yeah, I think he should be part of it. Loans can go bad. Players become lazy on loan in other clubs. Um, here's the thing. From the way I see, sometimes when players don't succeed in at the loan clubs, it may be down to not playing enough.
By the
So,
way, Coach, I want to say
yeah,
something. Did you watch City a couple of nights ago play?
against
Was it
who?
City? I'm trying to think. Brighton, sorry, the Brighton game. Did you watch
Against
Brighton?
Arsenal?
Yeah, did you watch it?
No, I didn't. Do you think I missed that game?
Yeah, Coach. You know what we didn't talk about that I don't remember was Gilmore.
He
Oh, it
was
hurt.
excellent.
Yeah,
He was excellent, and I wanted us to keep him, but I think he wanted to leave. I'm
yeah.
not
No,
going to
of
blame.
course,
Yeah, I'm not going
no,
to blame Thomas Tuchel
of
because he
course.
gave him
But I'm just
he
saying.
could give him opportunities in high profile games, which showed he's starting to trust him. But he wanted to be playing constantly.
Yes,
And I think
yes.
we sold him right, and we don't have a buyback clause. We don't. I don't think so.
I don't
Um,
think so. I think we discussed that before, but I just wanted to mention it. I'm just
yeah,
like,
he's a player I love
I'm
so much.
happy for
Actually,
him.
yeah,
Yes,
I'm happy he's doing well. And
yeah.
I remember doing a video with Lance React. We talked about him. To me, he would have been a perfect replacement for Jorginho because he's more physical.
Exactly.
He's
Yes.
he thinks quicker than Jorginho, and you can see also deals with again. He's more aggressive than Jorginho,
Yes.
and I wanted him to stay, but he wanted to leave. As a Scott international, he wanted to be starting games,
Well,
and
of
I don't
course.
blame him. And that's the sort of situation I'd like to see. I don't want us to selfishly keep players who want to move on because we think they're going to be. If we can't give them the game time, just let them go in most cases. Uh, you know,
Yeah.
but loans can go bad, but you can't just attribute that to the players and saying they're lazy. In most cases, look, you can say, let's be honest here, clubs that loan players, some cases it's just because they have one of their own player that's injured, so they want
Yep.
you could say a standing player or a player to play in that position temporarily for them until that injured player comes back. You'd have to be exceptional that when their own player is ready to play again, that you keep playing. I don't know if that makes sense. Paul needs more games. His passing wasn't spot on. And how many times has he played? That's the question we have to be ask ourselves if we're being honest. Uh,
Yeah.
when the player comes in from the dark, that's how I like to say it. If a player hasn't played for a while, I don't expect them to come in and be excellent. But he did good enough. And on Hall is an excellent player to me. But let's see what happens. We get to him. Is Slonina not good enough to get a game these days? I don't know. Not up to me. I think given the numbers he produced before we signed him, I think he's capable of doing well. But it sounded like from Fabrizio Romano's report a week ago or so that he will most likely go on loan. So keep dropping the likes on the stream, people, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The likes do go a long way. And thank you to my bro, Mikhail. Lewis Hall needs to play more. If Chilwell and Kuku ahead of him are better to be sent out on loan, I think I'm going to use the poll here to ask that question before we round up that one. What else do we have here? Cecil, I get this loads so slowly. Cecil Ben says Chelsea up top. Big up to you, Cecil, for finding the time to join the show. Appreciate that. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. We need just 90 more likes to get it to 100. The likes to go a long way. We need to buy back our Billy now. Do we even have a buyback clause? I don't think. We do. And that's even after that bad spell. What's that club that's been relegated? Norwich City. That
Southampton.
bad,
Oh, Norwich. Yeah.
yeah, that bad
Oh,
loan. That isn't that even that bad spell at Norwich again. Isn't it actually enough to turn him into a bad player? He's been able to recover from that.
what
But
does that
even
tell you? Yeah.
yeah, that tells you he's such a good player. I don't see Felix coming back because of Nkunku incoming. The only way is that Poch will play 2 times. That means 3-2-4-1. The way Pep is playing, but in my opinion, it's impossible. But let's wait and see what happens. Gilmore is not good enough for Chelsea. Come on, guys. If that's your opinion, I think it's good enough for Chelsea, really. But we all entitled. We see things from different lenses, and if you think It's not good enough. That's your opinion. In my opinion, I think it's good enough for Chelsea. Actually, you could argue better than some players we have in our ranks right now. Ian Matson, the 80 day of a Cucurella, considering we offered Cucurella to Atletico as part of our compensation for Felix, we should ship Cucurella and Matson should be playing. I'm not sure who the club is going to decide to sell to accommodate Matson. And there's no guarantee actually if we sell either Cucurella or Ventura, that Martin will still put pen to paper for a new contract. I think he probably be seeking a guaranteed starting place, or maybe if we can get him to put pen to paper and also convince him, to stay one more season at Bali, he may well accept that because that you can say that a connection is still there with the Bali players. He may well say, okay, let me give it a shot at the Premier League with the same team. If we can convince him to do that, but get him to extend it, that will be fine. Let's see. Omari needs loan, and we need to focus on the congestion of the team. You can argue that we have a bloated squad. We need to deal with that. Buy both Bellingham and Gabri. Bellingham, who you've heard, again, haven't you heard that he's on the verge of joining Madrid? The deal is practically done. I think Chelsea, what name is that? Because we have more players. Okay, let's see. What else we have here? Uh, who we bring back this week to bring back to bring back FC? I'm not sure who's coming back. We get to the players one by one. Casado, better than Gilmore, but Gilmore is a different type of player. They're not the same. Since we don't know exactly what Chelsea means, yeah, I tell you, Chelsea is a top team. Well, yeah, we know that, or maybe you're just telling me. Most of the players that you are talking about are mid-table players, hence why we are 11th. Um, okay, let's see. We're here to work. It's an exercise. That doesn't mean that that's what the club would do. Yeah, I hope you're okay with that. Gilmore, not even a starter for Brighton. Uh, um, okay, Constantine Dante. That's your argument, and that's a solid one. If he hasn't been starting, then that's a problem too. Coach, who do you prefer? Onana, Raya, Robert Sanchez? Wow. I don't know Raya that well, and I need to pay attention more to him. Onana, I've followed for a while because we wanted him about, was it 3 years ago, before we signed Mendy. I can't remember what year exactly we wanted him, but he had a doping issue at that point. I think we skipped. So right now, I can't say really, but I'll just, from the little line, I'll just go with Onana. Honestly, not Robert Sanchez. I don't know that much. He may. There's a chance he's better than Onana, but I need to, on do my research and see which of these goalkeepers is better. Cucurella must go if you think so, but it's not up to us really. And we have this from JC saying, Coach, can we sell everyone and give a big plus to Bali for going shopping again? Maybe that will work. So I'm going to ask those in the chat. Let me look at what the poll says here. It asks the question, oh my goodness, it's 50-50. Ian Matson, keep is 50%. Okay, that's fine. Sell 32%, loan out 17%. I'm just gonna go with keep, and we already have it there. Let's go. We can actually remove players if we find that we have a better player that can switch up with him. So Lewis Shaw should be there as a rotational player. Are you okay with that, Roger?
I'm sorry, who?
Lewis Hall should be there as a rotational player.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'm tired of rumors and overhyped EPO players connected with Chelsea. Yeah, some of them. Here's the thing. I don't believe in all of them. I usually like to analyze the situation and see what the player fits in. Chukwuemeka can grow faster in Chelsea. Omari, because he's the demonstrated confident level. Omari was a shaky confidence is key on a big stage. If one is to stay back, it will be a Mecca. Both are better on loan, but there's a chance both of them stay. Both stays. I'm not sure. It's not up to me. But don't you think Roger? Don't you think there's a chance to go Mecca and what's his name and Omari Hutchinson stays?
I hope so, Coach.
But from what we're hearing of late, I think Chukwuemeka will have to go out on loan. But go ahead.
I get it, but I think he fits in so much of the boxes. I think he ticks a lot of the boxes just like Hall does. He's young, he's homegrown, he just I don't know. I've seen him play, for when he played for Villa. I saw the highlights, and I've actually seen
And
the
even the
entire.
little he's played for us.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And the couple of games he played for Villa, was it last year or the year before? I mean, listen, his ceiling is also he brings physicality too. He's got upper body strength. He glides. I think, don't forget, you're going to have rotation. You can't just have every player play every week for 90 minutes. You're going to
Hmm.
have some that come on in 60 to 70 minutes, some that start the next game because of rotation or injuries, even. God
Hmm.
forbid if we have injuries. So um, you need at least two starters in every position, and then, at least. And so I think Carney is good enough and ticks all the boxes for Poch for him to stay. I
Yeah,
think
and
there
keeping him doesn't mean he'll be starting games.
No, no, exactly, exactly. There is a possibility he goes out on loan, but if I had to bet $1, I'd say he stays and he's a rotational player. I
Yeah,
really
I
would.
agree. Yeah, and Yoland, Anthony, thank you so much for joining us, Yoland. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you. Please keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. We need 16 more likes to get it to 100. Yoland says, I'm guessing Yoland is a woman. Why do we want to sell our left-sided players? Look at our Arsenal now. When Mark Ben, look at us now. Okay, when Mark Ben is injured, the other has no help. So I think we should keep the three players, including Matson. Keeping the three of them is possible, but here's where the problem lies. I don't think you can get Matson to put pen to paper for a new contract without showing him a path to the first team. Otherwise, he'd prefer probably joining Burnley on a permanent basis, if that makes sense. But I understand what you mean. If we can keep the three of them, fine. We can be selfish, but the truth is the players you're trying to keep as good as they are, keeping the three of them happy can actually create a problem. If some are saying South Korea, then Chilwell should be sold as well. He's been horrendous. Here's the thing: it's not up to me to decide which of them leaves. And I've said before, we'd have to sell either of them for Martin to agree. That's my opinion. Disclaimer: will agree. Before I believe he will agree to put pen to paper for a new long-term contract. I keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. Just we need 15 more to get it to 100. Wasn't Hutchinson's first senior game against Manchester City? Uh, yeah, he will be. You could argue that's the case, and I did expect him to be perfect on the day. You need two starters at every position. Yep, that's what we're trying to do. A youth player under 21. Sometimes, yeah, mix of experience and youth is important. You can mix them up. Constant and Dante. We both players based on potential and we're not patient enough for them to realize that potential. That's a problem. I think the lack of patience probably uh, will most likely start to show on the side of the fans, not the owners. The owners have a vision. If that what they plan is to get players with potentials and give them time to mature, then I don't think patience is their issue. Chalobah is better prospect than Fofana. If Fofana stops dribbling while standing 2 feet from Kepa, only then will I rate Fofana above Chalobah. I think they're both good players. One you can say is a better ball carrier. The other one, for me, is a better defender. And I'm not going to go out to pointing out what areas they differ. So I don't want to get into that argument right now. This says it's just most of the under 21s don't want to be third choice. Yep, these days all want to play, so they prefer to be sold or loaned out, and that's why we see situations where lots of them are on the final again. Lots of them are in the final year of their contracts. I see football differently than you, mate. It's all right. I am discussing defending skills. Okay, you're having a conversation with somebody there. I'm going to move on from that. Let's see what else do we have here. Anything else? I am talking both. Okay, let's see what else we have. We have this. Why do we have such long injury list? I don't know. It's something. the club, they should try and figure out themselves. Um, Roger, just intentionally, I'm going to skip the goalkeeper department. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, but let's be honest here. I think Bettinelli stays, um, but probably it's going to be to the rotating player, or maybe it could, may well be squad player. But at this point, given that we think Mendy leaves, de facto leave. Let's just drop this guy here as a rotating, or maybe just a squad player. Let's go from there. It's not going to be easy, really.
I
Keep
think
dropping the
I
likes on
think
the stream, people. Go ahead, Rodit. We're saying
I
something.
think Slolina goes out on loan.
Yeah, I think he will go out on loan. So let's drop that one there. And we've heard so much of that. He
I
goes
think
out
that's
on loan.
I think that's a safe assumption, but you
Mhm.
never know though. You never know.
Then if that changes, we'll redo that. But I think he goes out on loan,
Yeah, I think
except
that's
because they will want him to be playing. If he
yes.
stays, Slonina is the more experienced of the two, and I don't see. I know he signed a long-term contract. He just signed not Slonina, but Tonelli just signed a new contract, right? I think he stays, and you usually want again. I think it'd be not maybe. I'm not sure, but I don't. I don't see a scenario where Slonina becomes second choice and Bettinelli becomes third choice. Do you see that happening?
Listen, if Mendy does go, he could very well be a rotational player. Let's say we can't bring a keeper in, you know.
Mhm.
There's a possibility he's third string. There is, but I doubt it. I think he goes out on loan. He would have to really impress the coaching staff for him to be a rotational or squad player.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. So we'll move on from now on. Let's see what the vote is saying with regards to Chalaba. Chalaba divides opinion. 53% says keep. I agree. A sell 35%, loan out 4%. I
What?
think Chalaba will not accept the loan. He'll probably look to leave if that's the case.
No,
Uh,
Chalobah's going to be a rotational player. How
yeah, it
many
should
years
be.
left on his contract?
I think he just signed. I think he should still have about 3 years or more,
Yeah,
or
I can't
something
see him
close.
going anyway. Chalobah's staying here. Yeah, he did sign a new one. He's definitely a rotational player, no doubt about it.
And let's explain again. Being in the rotational role doesn't mean means simply means the player can also start over whoever is in the starting role. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Um,
starting and
yeah,
rotational,
the
they're pretty
same. Yeah.
comparable. Yeah, pretty much.
hmm so let me see what else we have. I'm talking. Okay, we break that one. And this one here, I hate it when my highlight screen is slow. It's clear as day. Fofana is our best athlete. He's quicker of the two. You can argue that if you're talking about Dacho Fofana, he's quicker than Chalova, I think. We need at least one goalkeeper taking Slonina as number two and selling two twins, Kepa and Mendy.
Objection, Your Honor.
Shaki Pudel, nice to see you, brother. His thing, I think Slonina will never be the second choice. They need him. They need him to be starting games. But if I'd be shocked if Poch comes in and say, you know what, Slonina is the number one, and nothing is impossible. If we're being honest, there's a chance that happens. But yeah, let's see. Lots of the talks in the chat isn't even talking about what we're talking about now, Coach. Let's not forget, Fofana has been also fragile and injury prone. Chalobah is more reliable. His thing, I like to see it differently. I get it; they differ in some ways, but two of them can actually complement each other. Does Poch play three at the back at times? If so, we need at least a five CBs. I don't remember, but predominantly 4-2-3-1.
Yeah,
Correct me if I'm wrong.
we're gonna need a minimum of five CBs. If we go with a back four, you're gonna need a minimum of five. If you go with a back three, you're gonna need an
Mhm.
absolute minimum of six. Those are the basics. Those are the fundamentals of your squad size. If you're so inclined to have that formation. Um, One thing I want to say about Chalobah is that he's really impressed me when he's been playing the right back lately. The way he goes forward,
He's done well. He's executed it quite well.
you know that what he played like the last two or three games, two out of the three, where he's played that right back position. I'm
Uh
like,
huh.
if you notice the way he advances the ball and then his crosses, he was much better than I anticipated. He's really improved, and I think with a new coach and a new coaching staff. I think he's only going to get better each year. I'm not just being bombastic in that or delusional. I'm really serious. I'm really happy for him. I really am.
Just quickly, Roger, this argument here from Dante saying Slovenia should be the backup goalkeeper, let's say second choice. And Dante, we don't use the term backup here.
Well, actually, for goalkeepers, it does kind of
No, I'm
apply.
just kidding. But
It does,
what do you make of
yeah,
that argument? I think he should be playing constantly at this age.
yeah. I think. Listen, unless you're the exception, like a Donnarumma, the vast majority of keepers don't really start at the highest level until they reach their mid 20s. Let's say 23 to 25.
But to really get there, you ought to be playing.
Yes, exactly. But exactly. You cannot, from your informative years from 18 to 22, you have to be playing regardless of what league, because you need that experience in the flight of the ball, catching it, your aerial. You have to understand, you have to get 50 to 100 crosses each day, but nothing replicates or duplicates the speed and the psychological aspect of playing in a real game. You can do whatever you want to in practice, but you cannot replicate that, because it's just ask anyone that takes a penalty. That you can take 100 penalties in practice, but when it's like for a World Cup final or a FA Cup final, whatever it is, and you have to have the pressure of taking that penalty, trust me, it's the same thing when you're coming out for a ball or coming out of your goal line. It's all about, it's a difference. You can do so well in practice, but when you get on the actual playing field, the pressure is so different.
Match
And
atmosphere is different.
yeah, it's just everything about it. And for a keeper, I mean this politely, but it's the hardest position on the pitch, coach. It really is. You're on an island, and you need game time more than any other position, especially in your informative years.
Yeah, I agree with Nhamdu, who says Raphael Nhamdu, who says that Todd must be ready to take a financial blow to be able to offload some of his players. That's the truth. Some of them are, you have to sell as soon as possible, otherwise they leave as free agents, and that's a huge risk. Play Slonina, see what he has. If not ready, then loan him. I don't think we have the luxury where we're at right now to be, experimented. We need to go out with the best we can. Richard, what do you think? We don't have the luxury to be experimenting right now. We need to get back into that top four as soon as possible. Otherwise, it will become even difficult. So yeah, if we don't as soon as possible, go ahead, Roger.
Yeah, I think the longer we're out of the top four, the 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 more disruptive it is to our mid and long term plans, financially speaking,
Hmm.
because I believe that they've sat down and they've made financial decisions based on the fact that they were going to be in the top
Hmm.
four. And so, because of that, unless they increase their revenue stream in other ways, i.e., marketing, i.e., shirt deals, whatever, they need to increase their revenue substantially to compensate for not being in Europe, because that is a huge part of the equation.
Yep. Chelsea has to say get rid of Bettinelli and loan Slonina. Get two new goalkeepers. It's not that. It's not that. I don't think we'll be able to do all those things in the summer. It's going to be a complicated summer for us. It's not going to be that
Coach,
simple. Yeah.
coach, you could do that in over the weekend, coach. Come on.
But I get the trust the other ways. I get it's coming. Keep dropping the likes, people. People underestimate Chalobah. That I agree with you. People
Indeed.
don't understand how good he can become and how good he is already. Chalobah is a smooth player and he's still young too. Something that they can be said of Fofana. To me, I think both are smooth. I know
Yeah.
how I feel they differ, but that's your argument and you're entitled to it. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. So let's move on. Let's
Coach,
go. Yeah.
coach, they're
Mhm.
both they're 22 and 23 years old respectively.
Yeah, they're still
Wow.
very young, and they're
Oh, they're
both good players.
fetuses. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're not going to reach their peak till they're 28.
yeah, and it's as simple as that.
Wow,
Uh,
that's
why is this?
amazing.
Yeah, before you call me crazy, look at Fafana. Oh, he's on the appointment with time swing coach. Athletic. Here's the thing. I think he will overcome that, but I get it. What do we have here? I think Salonina will play in the US tour, maybe. We're not sure what they're gonna, but that's us thinking he probably goes out on loan, and I think that's the you could say that's what will help him the most is for him to go out on loan where he'll be starting games week in, week out, and not just to wait for cup games alone. Otherwise, he will not mature well as a goalkeeper. We should not underestimate the confidence Lampard is giving on to Chalobah. Yeah, I read something today too. Said he's getting better, which means he's going to be starting games probably to the end of the season, except if he gets injured. Big up, Coach Panel and Chat. Allow me to immediately tell you Lukaku is selling the dinosaur in the room. We know. You don't need to remind us. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. Let's get it to 100 as soon as possible. The likes do go a long way. And even though he was he was the beautiful game that suggested we do this show as soon as possible, and we started without him. That's because we don't like him. Next season, Chalobah becomes Chalobola, thanks to Lampard, starting Chalobah all games. You could argue that he was one of our best players above post World Cup. It's a pre World Cup, so to speak. And then after that, what happened? I don't know what he did to ground, but I just don't understand. Chalobah does well. This time he's shaking on the ball, and he's still young. That's likely to continue happening. But I see matures. He's become even more polished, and you'd be seeing less and less of those mistakes that has led to people calling for the club to sell him or loan him out. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. And here's my bro, Tyrone. Big up to you, brother. You've been so busy. But much love to you, and I love you so much, brother. And I understand. I keep dropping the likes on the stream, and go check out Ty's YouTube channel. I think if he's listening, he'll share the link. He will share the link to his channel so you can go check it out. A good content creator, in my opinion. I think Fofana. Okay, I'm going to skip the argument right now, but both are good players. Let's just leave it at that. We shouldn't be comparing our players. We need both. To the extent that we're saying, let's move on. Has anyone evaluated Slonina's ability of playing from the back? I haven't done that, and that's one of the reasons why I cannot say for certain, and will not say for certain whether he should get a chance as the first choice goalkeeper or even the second choice. But even beyond that, he needs to be playing to mature very well as a goalkeeper. I'm not too sure how good he is with his feet. I need to find out. But he's still young and can start learning if he hasn't done that since. Never seen him shaky other than one game against City where he has. Okay, you guys should slug out the argument right there. I'm going to scroll to the very bottom. We'll continue, then I'll try to get your subsequent contributions too. Constantine Dante here says, yes, I agree about Slonina, but he has been playing for a long time in the US League. Has been best keeper in that league at a young age. So why buy him if not to play him straight away? Courtois was excellent. Was it Genk? Courtois was playing week in, week out at Genk. And we bought him. We had to send him out on loan, and the loan helped him. I don't know how to phrase it. And it can't sustain. More importantly,
why buy him? It's simple. Yeah. Because we're doing a project. We're acquiring the top young talent around the world. That's why buy him.
Yeah, and more importantly, no disrespect to again, as an American too, no disrespect to the MLS. I think the standard isn't up to par, anything close to any European league, if that makes sense. I get it; it's not easy. It has something that it's known for. It's a tough league. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's at that level yet. Everything you said was based off opinion, but okay. They're just having a conversation right there. As I repeat, Fofana is good, but has following drawbacks, dribbles where he should be constantly at wrong side positionally as exposed injury prone, strength, speed, high jump, overlapping. Okay, that's right.
I do have some concerns with regards to the fact that I hate that term injury prone. I really do, because it's beyond a player's. How shall I put it? It has nothing to do with his ability or her ability. It has to do with the fact that when players get a knock or twist their knee or their ankle, everyone's body is different, and so based on what the DNA lottery, some people recover faster than others or have a different pain threshold. And I feel so sorry for Farner because he seems to be really unlucky. Um, a lot like if you look at Reece James, he planted his leg, he hyperextended his knee. That has nothing to do with being injury prone. That's a freak accident. You see that in the NFL occasionally. It's just bad luck sometimes, and he seems to be going through a tough patch. But he certainly does seem to be a bit unlucky. Don't forget the big injury was a hairline fracture or a break in his tibia or fibia. So technically, that bone will grow back stronger. So that shouldn't be an issue. The only thing is that the muscles surrounding a particular bone have to compensate, and you can have muscular ramifications from that.
Hmm.
But listen, I just hope that the jinx is broken. I hope that because he's had enough for a whole career right now. I just hope that he can proceed and have far less injuries. That's my only concern about Fofana.
Yeah, I do understand. Big Coach, I hope I'm just in time for the sentences of Romelu Lukaku. Oh, I've noticed you don't have a category for life without Peru.
That's great. I love
Yeah,
it.
we don't. Let's see.
Without parole.
Yeah, I think content is just having a conversation. Eugene knows players and their style, which is suited more for CFC. Well, you can say Eugene is our expert to a certain extent. Until he doesn't like a particular player, he will tell you what he wants about that player. Florian Balogun chose to play for US over England. Okay, he could have played for Nigeria too, given that last name. Chaloba as a defender, I read better. I know you've said that on occasion because I don't like my defenders to be flashy and taking risks. Moreover, Chaloba as a defender starts for me over Fafana. Okay, that's you. That's your opinion. And both can actually start together. That's how I see it. I just want to get away from that saying both of them are good. Both are good players. It's as simple as that. Bettinelli cannot even be a League One goalkeeper. But here's the thing: he counts as homegrown, so it's a plus for the club to have him there. And you don't need a goalkeeper where you keep him on the bench, even as a third goalkeeper. You want him to be happy and and not complain. And I think he's one of those. So there's a chance that we'll just use him as a sport player there because we're not too sure what's going to happen in the goalkeeping department. Let's see what else we have. Lampard was starting Ashby before he played Chalobah. Anything else here? What else do we have? Chalobah isn't a defender. He's a midfielder for a start. So he should go back to playing in the midfield. Not a good defender. Okay, I'm not going to be reading your conversations again, people. Just leave them. Subscribe to Ty Talks. Please go check it out. He's close to 1K subscribers, and we can help him reach there as soon as possible. There you go. He has a link to his channel there. And I've seen my bro. He says MLS defense is only as good as your goalkeeper. As your goalkeeper. I'm not sure what to make of that. Coach sounding like Eugene about it. No, I don't do that. You should know. But I get where you're coming from, Constantine Dante. Eugene is a different animal on his day. And big out to my bro DJ. So always nice to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well. Thank
Hey,
you so much
DJ.
for finding the time to join the show. I appreciate that. I keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. We need just 8 more likes to get it to 100. I think I'm going to end the Chalova poll in a bit. Donnarumma was pretty young too, yeah, but he was playing. He was just sitting on the bench at AC Milan. Was it AC Milan? I think, currently, if I'm wrong, I think it was AC Milan. He was playing week in, week out. Wouldn't know unless given the chance. That's the truth. Do I think they give Slonina the chance? From what we're hearing, it doesn't look like it. In my opinion, he isn't ready for a full season, but I wouldn't mind starting him in cup games and then starting him fully. Then who starts the rest of the? You start the rest of the games. If we're planning on selling Kepa and Mendy or one of the two, I'm not sure what's going to happen. So the goalkeeping department is a difficult one. I guess. Okay, you guys go ahead with the argument there. Let me see what else we have here. I want to read these from my bro Thomas Bass. I prefer the term "made of glass." Chelsea fans like that one for police sake. Okay, you go with it, run with it, do whatever you want with it. Lukaku to be sold. Yeah, I think I'm not sure we're going to be able to sell him. I think we may end up terminating his contract or keeping him. Either of that. To selling him, I don't think it's going to be easy. His wage,
No,
if he
I think
decides, yeah, go ahead.
from what I heard, Coach, I think we're talking about Lukaku, correct?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think that they're going to try to negotiate another loan, whereupon um, that Chelsea are willing to pay for part of his salary, but he has to cut his salary by like 30 to 40% also.
Hmm.
So, because I believe that to terminate it is too great of a hit based on the amortization of the deal. So, they
Hmm.
need at least 1 year. Listen,
Wait, what's the
this is
correct pronunciation again? Amortization or amortization?
amortization, but maybe I'm being
Okay, the
English.
Riza before. Okay, okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So here, this is the issue here. It's this, for all intents and purposes, this acquisition, and I use that term loosely, is it's a write-off. It's unfortunately, unless he doesn't fit or tick any of Poch's boxes, he's not the type of number 9 going forward that Poch is looking for.
I don't think
And
he is. Yeah.
so I believe there's a strong possibility that they're going to loan him out with the aforementioned matters that I mentioned, and then they're going to probably try to sell him at probably what, $10.22. I mean, he's not going to get it. Chelsea are not going to recoup anything from this. We basically have to write off a loss of between, let's say, 80 and 100 million. It's that simple. It's a it was a bad acquisition, and we just have to bite the bullet, as they say. It's sad, but these things happen.
Yeah, I think we all can agree. Chama, big up, nice to see you. Thank you so much for finding the time to join in the show. I think we're being cooked in the chat. What's happening? Don't have these players signed. I'm not sure. This is not about signing players. This is players we have already. We're just categorizing where we feel like they belong after, considering their situation and how Poch plays. Who's next on the list? We'll pick that person up in a bit. Who can put Roger? Who can put Roger fourth choice homegrown goalkeeper as well? We can, so to speak, put just fourth choice homegrown goalkeeper as well. Yeah, but Roger has grown past that now. He is the chairman of the Goalkeepers Union. From what I'm listening to, Chelsea all the way is cooking us. I hope somebody can like me enough to block him. But much love, bro. I'm just kidding. From what I'm listening to, the chat and panel seems Potter has left his DNA to the fan base. I don't I don't think so. Um, we're just trying to be as objective as possible with regards to who we select and who we don't select. But that doesn't mean that's what's going to happen. Lukaku haters are going to be put to shame tonight. Wow. Okay. Let's see.
You know
Let's see
what
what
though?
happens.
He looked really impressive last week. He looked in great shape, and he looked fast and strong. This is not the Lukaku I saw, what, 4 or 5 months ago. He's definitely been working out.
Yeah, all the players on the board so far should be not higher than loan. All of them, really, not higher than loan. Okay, thank you, Logic. That's your own opinion. We use the vote to within just decide. And yeah, you don't have to type on the board so far. It should be again. You shouldn't type that twice. We use the poll. That isn't just us, but that's your opinion. But let's see what we have now. By the way, Coach, you have a lot of watching line for UEFA Champions League. I'm going to check the time. If I schedule, I think you'll get a notification. Let's see what else we have here. What do we have? Nkunku. Yeah, Nkunku. Yeah, a starting player. But Tonelli is our own Scott Carson. Okay. You could say that. Let me see what else we have in the chat. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. We need just 6 more likes to get it to 100. And this one here says that's the thing. I am always ashamed yeah, because you're Belgium too, maybe. Let's see. This says sell Lukaku, release or terminate Abu's contract and buy one good one. Some of those people on loan, actually, we're not going to talk about them. Well, I think we should only concentrate on those where it's not that clear what's going to happen. For instance, for sure, quite clearly, Bakayoko is not going to come back to Chelsea, and that's just an example. But we'll move on from that. Let's go with this guy here. By the Chile, we're going to put him starting. I don't think there's any argument against that. Silva, let's just use some as a rotational. That doesn't mean he cannot be starting games, but he's there. It's either he starts or someone else starts there. The poll, which asked the question, Chalobah, 63% says keep, and that's 46 votes. So that's a good enough. That's a good enough sample size. Let's see what we have here from what's his name? Chelsea all the way, my bro, once more says that this is seriously slow. It doesn't load well. Destroy the like button, people, to the channel. If you are new, do subscribe, please. The likes do go along with 6 more to get it to 100. Keep dropping the likes and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. So let's go to the server. Let's have one of the two rows, doesn't matter. Let's go bench you. Well, I think, yeah, could be starting. But it doesn't really matter where he stays. Kukurea, yeah, let's just say rotating.
Hey,
but
coach.
yeah,
Do you think there's? I know he's only 24. I actually thought Cucurella was like 26, 27. Do you think there's any chance that he doesn't stay this season?
that's a chance. There's a chance that he's sold. There's a chance Benchua is sold too.
I don't think we sell Ben, but well, he's injury prone also to a certain extent. But I don't know. I'm not sure. I think one of them may go, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you could say that. One of them may have to go if we're serious about bringing back Ian Martin. And Ian Martin, I think, is better positioned to negotiate with the club right now, given that he has just a year left on his contract. And we have to we have to listen to him. Let me just say it that way. And this year, Choma saying uh, he, he's on form, right? I wouldn't say that. I don't know if you guys think he's on form. That's it. And I think Silva is the only player. Why is this thing being slow? It's not loading quick, and I don't like that. I think Silva is the only lock starter until he retires. Here's the let's explain something. The row one called say starting players. A rotational player can actually start over a player that's in the starting area, if that makes sense. That's how we're doing it here. The fact that you're in the second row doesn't mean you're not gonna you cannot start. If we're using a different method, which for me, if you ask me, it makes more sense to me. This says Colwell in for Cucurella. Here's the thing: Colwell is not a defender, and I hope he gets a sense of playing the midfield when he's played when he plays with the academy, and he's an excellent. He has a good passer range in him. Roger, I don't like the term injury prone. What do you prefer? You say it in the chat. Keep dropping the likes in the chat, on the stream, people, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Cucurella to learn us. I think if we ever decide not to keep Cucurella, it will most likely be to sell him. But I think he has the potential, and there's a chance Mauricio Pochettino comes in and prefers Cucurella over Ben Chilwell. And for me, honestly, I'm going to say this: I actually prefer Cucurella over Ben Chilwell. I know Chilwell is good. They have things they do different. They can do better than each other. But Cucurella, there's one thing you guys don't pay attention to. He's only one of few players in our team that's able to find passing lane where you don't know one exists. And even when he does find that passing lane, in most cases he keeps the ball on the carpet. And I think, we shouldn't judge him that much. He hasn't been here that long, and it's not been like our team. We've seen we've seen series of exceptional performances from our team, that only
That's a good
is the
point.
one that's bad.
Yeah. No, that's a very good point. Same with Koulibaly. Listen, these players have come in to a team where we have been playing very poorly. And you can, some people will say, well, that's down to them also. But listen, when everyone around you is either out of form or not on the same page, however you
Yeah,
want to stylistically um, state that, they are experiencing, shall we say, I would say some unfair criticism. And I think you're right about that to a certain extent. And by the way, Chilwell and Cucurella, stylistically, they're very different. They're completely different players. Um, so I get what you're saying. I'm actually a little bit, I struggled because when I look at both these players, they do things that really please me. And conversely speaking, within a few seconds they'll go and do something that really displeases me. So they're very inconsistent, both of them sometimes.
yeah,
But I
like I said, this isn't a season where it make any sort of sense to isolate the players'
yeah, yeah,
performances by
yeah. No,
critiquing
I
them.
agree with you 100%.
Yeah, the team as a whole
Yeah,
has been,
you have to look at them objectively.
yeah,
Listen. I am not Sterling's biggest fan, but you have to be honest. He played great a couple of last week. He played outstandingly well. You have to give credit where credit's due and criticize constructively when that is also due. That's what I believe. I don't have, with the exception of Kante being my favorite player, I really don't have favorites and people I dislike the most. I just look at their ability or their performance and base it on that. If you see what I'm saying.
mhm, quite clearly. The DNA definitely rubbed off of Coach chasing Cucurella like Potter. That's me. We see things differently. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to mine. But we're not going to fight. I'm just kidding. Express yourself, brother. This not saying the Cucurella would be a complete player on the porch. Whatever we do, we just cannot sell too many. Too many. Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
even let's be honest. I don't think Cabrera will be on the club's. So it's not
Listen,
going to be one of the players the club will be considering to sell. If that
City are
makes sense.
City are looking for a left back. They're playing most of the season with someone that's playing out of position at left back. So they will buy him for 30 to 40 million, probably no more. And Pep will do wonders with Cucurella.
Mhm.
So we cannot afford to be selling these players to make our biggest rivals better. That needs to stop, like selling several of our midfielders to Man United several years
Mhm.
ago. That just can't be done. It's a no-no.
Yeah, yeah, that's the truth. So let's keep to this. See how fast we can move this one. Sell. Is it going to be a free agent?
Who's that?
Is it going to be a ask the question? Is it going to be a free agent when
He's
the
got
season
one more
ends?
year, right?
It has one more year, so sell. I think it have one more year, so it'd be sell. Correct me if I'm wrong. He signed a new contract, and it was a 2-year contract. I think. Let me just check to be sure whether he fits into the sell category or just uh, he's just going to leave, or maybe we shouldn't waste our energy on it. Let me just check it
I
quickly.
think he leaves, coach. He's either selling or leaving. I think Aspie definitely. No, well, I shouldn't say definitely because you never know because of his leadership. But I think there's a very strong possibility that he's gone next year.
Yeah, I think he's going to leave, most likely. Just give me 1 second. Let me check. As the contract expires August 30th, 2024, June 30th, 2024. So he still has to, so probably he falls under the category of sell, and we can still get something from him. How much? I don't know. This guy here should be up here, I believe. And this guy here, we don't even need to discuss too much about it, but he can be either or. But more importantly, there's a reason why. So since Silva is up there, let's use Koulibaly as rotational. Kante up here, and some discussion to be had now. I think for me, this guy is sold. Everything we've heard in recent days points to the fact that he's going to end up leaving. Even before, we've heard that he's looking for a fresh challenge. And by next year, I think he still have 2 years left on his contract. But after the season, it'd be just a year. So we're better off selling him now to get a sizable fee from you. So if we leave it till next year, it's going to be really bad for us. But what do you think, Roger?
Who are you referring to, sir?
Kovacic. So I've already added him to the sell
Oh,
row.
yeah, I'd be shocked if he stays. I think it's definitely leaning towards him parting. It's yeah. I mean, I do realize that he does have certain deficiencies, but he's been a
Hmm.
really good player for us. And listen, you don't get purchased by Real Madrid for nothing. You know, it's that simple. He's a very good player, and he's
No,
proven.
we know that. For me, I've come to terms that he will most likely leave, even though I wanted him to stay. He's one of the players I like the most at Chelsea. I know he's that sort of player. A lot of people will not, no matter how you're trying to explain his importance to the team. But go ahead, Roger. Sorry for cutting you off.
No, no, no. Um, it's hard to, I don't know. I'd be sad to see him go, but my only discontent with him is the fact that the end product, he has never been a consistent score. Well, I mean, that's putting it mildly. He seldom ever scores, and he seldom ever contributes with assists. The end product. However, what he does on the ball, how he turns on the ball, how he advances the ball, whether dribbling or passing, he's been invaluable in that sense. He has
Mhm.
many different facets and dimensions that attribute him being a very successful player. Conversely, and by the way, he's a great tackler also. Yes, he doesn't have great pace, etc., but he
And
reads the game quite
doesn't
well.
read the game from defensively.
No,
That's not his thing.
no, no, but I've seen him also have good games where he's able to track back and puts in really good sliding tackles, actually. But you know, he's not an elite player. Let's put it that way. But I believe there's a very good chance that he's sold this year. I give it over 50%, probably
I
over
think he will.
60, 65. Yeah.
Yeah, and reports suggest the same. 2 year contract with 1 year being an optional sign on for further year by Chelsea. Okay, you're thinking about Cesar Spapetta. Okay, thank you so much for Chelsea for providing that information for us. I sincerely do appreciate that. What else do we have here? Give me a second. Aspi already gone. Yeah, you can active that. Thank you. Let's see what is, thank you, legend. Number 28. Yeah, I think it's stopped as well. What else we have here? The last item on there. But Kasha, you want anything to talk about quickly before we move on?
No, not really. I'm down to sell Kovacic.
Is that Keyshawn?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm big
that's
big
Hey,
the New
on.
York
Keyshawn.
guy.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm alive.
Yes, sir. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Okay. So we can agree. I think cover self for obvious reasons we've talked about.
Yeah.
And let's see this one here. I'm not gonna say. I think this guy, Ruben Loftus, is good enough to be a squad player. But
Yes,
let me ask those in the chat. I'd be
I
shocked.
know.
Let
Listen, he's a
go
Marmite
ahead.
player. He's a
Yeah.
Marmite player. He divides the base. He really does. Listen, but Bobby's right. Well, maybe it is time for him to move on. But he's proven to be invaluable this season. He's been a third string selected player because of our injuries. And you,
Definitely.
And just quickly, Chelsea, if you use all caps, Nightbot would delete your message, and Nightbot is not a human being. That's a machine that's policing the
what?
chat.
No, we're having dinner tonight. What are you talking about?
So avoid using all caps so that it will not be deleting your messages. Okay. And it's not a human being. Don't follow it. Go ahead, Roger.
But also, he's been played so out of position. We all need to take that into consideration before criticizing him.
Yeah, good
Um,
Lord. Keep trying, you will
yeah,
convince
no,
me.
no. But listen, is he an elite player? No, but he's recovering from surgery. a serious surgery, injury, the Achilles, which is no laughing matter, and then to be put out in a different position, which he's done. He's played in so many positions this year. He's done outstandingly well. Listen,
Yep.
he brings strength. I wouldn't say speed, but he glides. He's good. He's physical. He has many good attributes.
Yeah.
Has he exceeded expectations? No, but I think there's a lot of contributing factors to that. I think without him this year, we would have been in deep doo doo.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's the technical term, Keyshawn.
Deep doodle. Yeah, I think I heard that before.
Uh, yeah. Let's see. I am not sad to see Cover go. I appreciate his contributions, but it's time to go. A lot of people think so. That I think otherwise, but I've come to the realization that he will end up leaving. Because as we've heard before, he's looking for a fresh challenge, and yeah, leaving is the start for that. Should just put cover Mount Alba, Pulisic, and Ziyech and Sell. They are seem to want out. So there's no point in speculating or wasting time analyzing them. But Kova has been. I don't think it's been that obvious because we heard also that the club hasn't also gone to him with an offer on the table. Saul loves to sick. We see the vote. Ooh, ooh.
I wouldn't
Wow.
mind keeping him really, but I mean, I get
I
to
wouldn't
tell
mind
him.
keeping him as a squad player, and I
Yeah.
think but here's where the issue lies. He's on the final year of his contract, isn't he?
Oh, is he? I didn't know.
Yeah, let me
Oh
check. The
nah.
most will be 2 years.
So
Let
we
me
get
check.
like $20.42 for him
Yeah.
plus
Roger, have you checked the
VAT.
votes?
Fudge.
Have
That's
you checked the votes?
no. Why is it? What is it? Let me. What is it?
90%. Just check it.
What are you doing to me? Hold on. Let me go. Let me
No,
go
because
check.
I knew lots of people would want him to be sold.
Oh, is it bad?
82% wants him sold.
Are you serious?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't think people dislike him. I just his time here probably just ran its course. Like
Well, it's just
even
gone down the
Yeah, so
swell.
yeah, he has about a year left on his contract, so it's a risk. But what do you think will happen, Roger? We have to talk about that one, even if we feel like the club should keep him and make
Okay,
it keep him
first
at
of
the
all,
squad depth. He has just a year left.
realistically, and I seriously, I have to underline that realistically, today's market, based on the fact he's only got basically 12 months, what can we get for him in today's market?
Around
15,
around
20
25.
million?
He's a good player.
Okay,
If you
25.
get
Okay.
around 20, 25, or a little less, there's no telling what will happen.
Well,
Aspi
let's
has
say
passed it
20.
now. Okay, go ahead. Let's say
Let's
how
say
much?
20. So I was thinking 15 to 20. You said 20, 25. Let's say 20. I mean, 20, that's not even a backup tea lady nowadays, coach.
Yeah, which was very
Seriously,
expensive to sign from Brighton.
seriously, I mean, I don't know. And his wages aren't exactly. What is he on? Let me have a look.
Not too big. I think around 100 or 80. I'm not sure. Let me check for you. But go ahead. You
I've
can
got it.
check.
I've
You
got
can
it on
check.
my
Let me get
spreadsheet.
what we have in the chat. Aspi has passed it now. To Basa will be a new place for him. I think they take him. I'm not too sure. Chilla, I had a short
120 a
meeting
week.
in office. 120. That's a lot.
120.
Yeah. So that's where the problem may come in. I think the club will most likely sell him except if he takes a pay cut. It's not like he's been earning 120 and is being one of our best players. Um, I think they may well sell him in office, or he ends up living on a free because he's always reluctant to leave, even when we want to sell. If we intend selling him, he doesn't want to leave. In a meeting, you manage to swiftly put Kovacic out. How did that happen so quick? We talked
Go.
about him for about a few minutes because
Kovacic
he's
did
looking
that
to
to
leave,
himself,
and
man. Yeah.
he is on the final year of his contract. So yeah, so it makes sense to put him in the sell up window. You were
Oh
saying something,
man.
Keshan?
He doesn't want to be here. Like the writing's on the wall. Like I don't
Yeah,
know. Like I
I think
see it.
yeah.
He doesn't play as hard as like we know that he can, in my opinion.
Do you think
Which is
so?
you could
Yeah.
argue that, but there's a chance
And it's just body language and
he has a
everything else.
fitness
Like,
issue. Maybe there are multitude of reasons you can
But
start
he
mentioning.
puts in a strong shift in the position. that he's not used to play multiple positions this season. I don't know. Listen, as I said, he's not elite. I never want to say he's elite, but he has so many positive attributes. But I'll be sad to see him go because I think he hasn't fulfilled his potential, and a lot of that has to do with that serious injury. And I feel really sad for him because I think he could have been an excellent player had he not been injured. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah, Kovacic hasn't been great. So selling him would be good in a way to get money. You could argue that, but let's see what the club does. I think they may well end up selling him, and this now is the time. If
So
they're going to
if you
extend,
notice, a lot of the players that are basically going to be sold have only got, it looks like, only 1 year left on their contract.
lots of them. Yeah, lots of
Lots of
them.
them.
Christian Pulisic, name all of them. So
Are you
it's
serious?
something.
Pulisic also?
Yeah,
No way. This
yeah. I
is a
think Pulisic has just a year left on his contract. Correct
so
me if I'm wrong.
this
What?
is this
Yeah,
is where
check
Bobby
again. Yeah.
this is where Bobby and I have been criticizing Maria Granovskaya because yes, her hands were tied to a certain extent, but not really.
Not
She should
really.
have done better 2 years ago.
Definitely.
Especially with the defense, especially with
With
people like
Rudiger and
Rudiger. I'm
Christensen.
sorry. Yeah, it's like I'm sorry. There's so many players that, or there's no clauses to extend them at least a year. If you look at the NFL, which I'm sure Keishon you're aware of, if you have a look because of the salary cap that was introduced in '92,
Yeah.
1992, that it's a science. They have computer software to actually real time to understand the ramifications of all clauses and so forth. And the same
Yeah.
surely is the same here. And I'm sorry for Maria not to negotiate or at least enter. Obviously, there are exceptions. There are things out of her control. Don't get me wrong, but we're seeing so many instances of where I believe she could have done better. Because don't forget,
Here's the thing. As much as she again, we'll have to blame her for some of that.
yeah,
We have to also remember, in some cases, some of those players refuse to put pen to paper
no,
for new
yeah,
contracts.
hence the
Yeah,
caveat. I get it,
yeah.
yeah, but
So
I
even in the
mean,
case of Christian Pulisic, I think we've tried, and he just don't. He just don't want. Well, he's always wanted to be sure he's going to be a starter. In the case of Antonio Rudiger, didn't want to bother himself about it. I think he's already made up his mind. He wants to be for a long time, not even before that. It is, I'm not saying she's perfect. Lots of stuff that you can look and blame it on that, but let's move on from that so it doesn't distract us here. If Loftus-Cheek is happy to be third, first, a strength squad player, then stay homegrown. Here's the thing: salary will be an issue. You said 120, right, Roger?
yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, and with a year left on his contract, you can argue the club will end up selling him. That's how I see it. He hasn't been the same since that injury. Roger did mention that too. Doesn't play well in his natural position or in the right wing. But how many times has he actually played in his natural position? I want to know. I don't think I've seen him play in an eight for a while, which I think is
I can't remember. It's
yeah,
been so
his
long.
natural
And
position.
the one occasion that I remember we talked about it post game where he did actually, he really looked dangerous if you recall.
Mhm. The most place I've seen him be effective is in the wing back position, especially against Real Madrid. Some say he's constantly that invisible man scrolling. Let's see what else we have here. This year, quickly,
Coach,
quite
you
a
know what
lot,
he
but
is?
this is slow
He's
to highlight. Yeah, go ahead.
he is basically a victim of his own success with regards to the
Versatility.
versatility. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
You hear
Mhm.
about that often, but I think he's truly the poster boy for that with Chelsea.
This is
Yeah.
it's okay if the side covers it to a team out of the Premier League and get some money, but
Yes.
sending him to
You know
City
what?
could be a mistake. Pep knows how to
Yes.
use him. I think he's the perfect
Yeah.
Pep kind of player,
That
and
He
for
would
real.
but
excel. He would
yeah, but I
excel
don't
in
think we'd have
City.
too much say. I don't think we would have too much say with regard to where he goes because if we try to do that, he'll probably stay and end up living as a free agent. But go ahead, Roger. You were saying something.
Listen, if that because of who's the Gundogan is potentially leaving after this season. Is it Gundogan? Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could go on. Yeah, the
Yeah,
German international.
yeah. Wow, what a goal he
And
scored,
rumors
by the
are
way.
that he's close to agreeing terms with Barcelona.
Yeah, and guess what? He was different kind of player. Don't get me wrong. I mean, but he would fit in. He would fit like a glove, I believe. Pep would.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's like you can't do this. We were selling. Do you remember the midfielders we sold? The tall chap and the Spaniard we sold, Mata, and who's the tall Serbian that we sold also to them
Hmm.
to Man United. It's like we can't do this. This is ridiculous. We can't be selling some of our best players to our biggest to a top four team. We just can't. And when I say top four, that's a joke. Top one. I mean,
Yeah.
5 out of 6. That's an
For real.
insult. Top four. I
Yeah,
might as well call them
given
top
this,
20, right?
Yeah.
yeah. Let me quickly get a few of what we have in the chat. I can't get everything because it's not working properly. It takes like about a minute for everything I highlighted to show up, so I cannot get everybody's comment, and it's not my fault. The highlight screen is been poor. It takes a few seconds for whatever I highlight to switch. I'm just going to say quickly, I'll take Kovacic in that case, but I'll take them both and
We
play them
have to
in
sell
different
players.
positions.
We can't keep them
Yeah,
all.
we cannot
I
keep
don't
them all.
get
Yeah.
that.
No, but
So this one here, this is really poor. It's not like
we can't be selling 15, 20
let
players.
me
It's
highlight.
simple as
I've
that.
highlighted the
Yeah,
necessary
no,
out as a
no.
shown. Yeah. Sorry.
We have to make some type of profit this summer so we can buy other
No, we have to.
players. So,
We have to.
and if you
Ruben,
don't
let's.
want to be
Yeah,
here
go
and if
ahead.
you're not good enough to play here, then you have to go. I don't care if I
I
like you
believe
before or nothing like that.
I've looked at our spreadsheet, Keyshawn and Coach, for the last couple of days, and I looked and I put potential, just like we're doing now. And I believe there's a strong possibility we're going to sell 7 to 8 players, and that 3 are going to be coming in. People like Gusto, you know,
And
people
Guto.
like Ethan Ampadu would make a great addition. Levi Colwell, and
Yeah.
so in essence, we're going to be losing 5 to 7 players, I think, realistically, and that's by selling 8 to 9 players max. It's like we do have to reduce the squad. We're currently
Yeah.
34. I have on my spreadsheet,
Phew,
and
that's
that's
a
with
lot.
Florino included. Um, it's ridiculous. It's a small town, as coach always says every game day, and I believe it's true though. It's like a village, and basically, realistically, you need to get. And I heard Poch likes a squad of about 25-ish, 24, 25. One of his former executives was saying, David Webb was saying that he likes a squad of about 24, 25. And they talked about reducing the size of the squad, and it's probably something that needs to transpire. So no more than 28. And I think that's where we'll get. We'll sell between 6 and 7. We'll have a net loss of 6 or 7, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. And then if you don't want to play here, you can go. If they don't think you're good enough, you can go. Like I'm not holding players' hands.
How romantic of you. No, I get it.
Uh,
Yeah.
just quickly here, let me get RSC is no longer young. And to see, I don't like that accusation. You saying I'm whistling through your past. You're coming. It looks like I'm scared. No, there's too much to read, and I'm complaining for the past 20 minutes that the highlight screen isn't working, and you're still blaming me.
Man, JC always wants to argue.
RSC is no longer young. The novelty has worn off.
Oh,
He has no
ouch.
ambition to be any more than a squad player. And to be honest, he would have been sold if he weren't homegrown. Love him, but be table team Beckons. Here's the thing: for the reasons
There's some truth to that.
we've explained, he's in the last year of his contract. Plus his salary 120, and it's not part of again. His contract isn't the same as the new. Doesn't have you can say the new construct. If for lack of a better way to express what I wanted to say, he may well end up being. I think he's going to be sold. Unfortunately, if he stays, I'd be surprised. If any club were offered 2 players of a sale, and I've answered that question, I don't know why you're complaining that I'm breezing through your comments. And there are other comments too from other people that I have to read, and I believe you type too fast, plus the screen isn't helping. So please understand. We get a 24 hours and 50 for Kovacic.
They're both gonna
Defines
go.
defines their qualities. I don't think you will get 50 for Kovacic.
50
He's
is
Yeah,
crazy.
I don't think we
today.
get 50 for Kovacic.
People are
50,
saying 50
50,
for Mount. 50.
50
Yeah,
million
yeah, Mount's
shekels.
around
Perhaps.
50, and I've seen some people saying we can get 70 for Mount. We're
No
dreaming.
way. Yeah.
He's on the last year
Listen,
of his he's in the last year of his Chelsea
oh,
contract,
another
and I don't
one,
think we get anything
coach.
close to that.
Another
Yeah,
one. Another one. Really shocking. It's
yeah,
like, no. Realistically, for cover, I think you get between 20 and 30, maybe 35.
Yeah, I'd
It,
say
yeah.
dep-
30.
it depends. And that's not a reflection on him per se. It's because of the length of the contract that's left. You know, if there's 3 or 4 years left on the contract,
Yeah, that's a huge
yeah,
determining factor.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
looking at 40 to 50 in today's market. Whenever what we're saying is the selling price, I think that obviously the talent level is a very important part of the equation, like the denominator. However, the length of the term left is probably the biggest deciding factor. It really is. It's
Yeah.
huge.
And other
So
teams know our situation. They know we have to sell players.
yeah.
So they're
So
going to lowball us.
oh
It
god,
doesn't
yeah,
matter.
yeah. No. They're going to low bowl us.
Yeah.
It's going to
Seriously.
be. They're going to see us coming. It's to
Yeah.
be honest with you, a player that's worth, let's say, 25, they're going to say 20. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, exactly. It
And
might as
we'll
well be
take it.
6. It might as well be like
I'm,
6
I'm
weeks
not
worth
sure.
of
Yeah, I'm
contract.
not sure how we're going to manage that. Selling players that are surplus to requirement players that we don't need, even if they go, we'll still be okay. It's not an issue. But once we sell in an area where we need to get a replacement, we're in trouble because the selling club will know we need a replacement. And if you need an example, remember when we quickly sold Zuma, and then was it Sevilla? They realized, okay, they're desperate now. Let's change our price. You understand? So I'm not sure how they're going to
Yeah.
manage that, but I think they have lots of smart people there. Let them figure it out. Like they do it already. Why am I using that language? But sorry about that. I'm having issue with the highlight screen. It's not helping me in any way. I highlight something and it doesn't show. Sometimes it takes about a minute before it
Keyshawn,
shows, and it's lining up.
Key-
What do you love to think of
Keyshawn.
Stalin? Keep us. He's gone. Kishan is gone.
Oh, really? I was about to
Yeah.
say, in New York, isn't that called user error? I'm kidding. I'm
What do you
kidding
think
with
of Stalin? Keep us sell. Stalin, it's a difficult one. Finding a buyer will be extremely difficult given his weekly salary. Um,
Yeah.
so it's either you keep him or you terminate his contract. And I don't think he takes a pay cut. He will not take a pay cut, no matter what you think. And this is my bro here. The highlight screen isn't helping. Look, I've highlighted something for nearly 20 seconds now. T1, thank you so much for also that donation yesterday. Ruben Loftus can be like how Milner and Hendo were to Liverpool, but unfortunately, he has just a year left on his contract. So you risk losing him as a free agent. And Roger, for being honest, the new construct of the new contract that the owners offer to players comes into play. Forget about the length. Such of you can say should I say I don't know if it'd be correct to say performance payment what's the term I'm looking for performance driven incentives. uh, I think that may be issue for some of those players that are in the final year of their contracts. What do you think?
This is killing us, as Bobby will allude to. It's just the vast majority of players that are going to be leaving, that we're going to be selling, however you want to term it, have, for all intents and purposes, only have a year left in their contract. So are you sure about Pulisic? 1 year, another player. This is incredulous. Maria, to a certain extent, has to take part of the blame for this. She really does.
But I wouldn't agree with the case of Christian Pulisic.
No.
Yeah,
I'm
he
not
could
saying
have.
for everyone.
That's what I'm saying. But I think,
Yeah.
and actually, I think here's the thing, Roger. No disrespect. I don't think we should be going that far as to why we're at today with regards to how many years the players had on their contract. We know when she left, we still had time to renew their contract last year. And by the way, it would have still been an issue. I think the new owners will probably like it. It's either you agree to their new format of contract or you move on. Because I think it would have. I don't know. I'm just saying, in my opinion, I don't think we should be dwelling on whose fault it is or not. Some or lots of them are on the last has just about a day left on their contract. Jesse says it isn't ours. Yeah, we've talked about that. You weren't here, so you join us back now. How many players played well this year? A cover is the keep any day, but unfortunately, we're considering all the. Forget how good you think Kovacic is. We're bringing all this stuff into consideration. He's again next year he'll have just a year left on his contract, and then it'd be even more difficult to get a sizable fee from his sale. And plus, he wants to move on. Now is the time to sell him. And from the reports we've heard, reports we've seen is that the club they've come to terms that he's going to leave, and they're going to let him go. Bobby, if you want to come in quickly so that we can plug in some players and call it a day, I don't think we'll be able to finish this in one go. Because we're looking at situations from all angles. Go ahead, Bobby, if you're there.
Yeah, I mean, clearly
Hola.
sales will be tricky if we're looking to make a profit, but I think they are quite prepared to make a loss, and
Oh
they
yeah.
will lose on lots of players. So the unfortunate thing with Chelsea is that we want to sell, the price goes down. We want to buy, the price goes up, which is a horrible position to be in
Yeah,
at the moment.
we'll be buying retail and selling at wholesale, basically.
Depending on who is to be sold. And this is why there is, I have some concern about people like Mount and Gallagher, because unless the new coach really wants them, they are the people that would be sold for a reasonable price because they don't have to be sold, as it were, and they're in high demand. But even they will not command as much as perhaps they should. Yeah, it's a bit of a loser's market, but we offload, we have to. People like Aubameyang, we will have to buy them out. Same with Ziyech to a certain extent. You're right. Pulisic also. Um, there's going to be a lot of losses. Bakayoko, he's going to have to be bought out for whatever is left. Malang Sarr, goodness knows what's left.
Yeah.
Baba Rahman, I don't know what's left. There's a lot of that going to go on. But the
Bakayoko
youngsters,
surely is in his last year, no?
well, Marina extended that one, so it is his last year. Um, Bakayoko, Ampadu, don't know how much long he has, but he will go cheap. We've already lost Sterling, Bijan Sterling for nothing. So how much of that we would recuperate in terms of balancing the books for financial fair play? I
Do,
don't know.
do
The
you
only
think
thing will be,
Ampadu is gone?
I think
Possibly.
I think
Let me
he
check
will
the
be
length of his
considered.
contract. We will get to him. We will get to him. Let's talk about Mount.
He'll be
Let's round up with
considered.
Mount for today.
The biggest problem of them all remains Lukaku.
Yeah,
Massive problem in
yeah.
terms of the
I think
financial
that of
backing.
Mount isn't easy. Let's start with you, Bobby. What do you think happens?
Well, it all depends on his wage demands, doesn't it? If his wage demands are unattainable, then they will let him go. If his wage demands are workable, then he will stay. It's as simple as that, really. That's the reality of the situation. I still deflect, redress. The issue is Lukaku. Buying him out is a considerable buyout. Do we Has the loss of his purchase been already absorbed in the purchase of the club? I don't know. Maybe it has. I
It's
don't
a
know.
good
If it
point.
has, that's a good thing. But you still have to get him off the books, and that will be a cost. He knows that. That's why there has to be a discussion. Well, could we do something there? I don't know. Depends on how buoyant Inter is, and it depends on how much Inter want him. And apparently, at the moment, it's not very much. So he's a big, big problem. The
Hmm.
others, well, we can give or take a bit. I mean, I'm understanding Ruben. It might be an issue getting him to go to AC Milan because of his wages. don't know how much contract he has if we want to get
One
rid of
year,
him.
2024. So we have to find a way to sell him now, or he leaves as a free agent
Yeah, yeah.
next year,
Well,
or it becomes, or the list we're able to get from him. Um, it's not.
Winstanley and Co. They're going to be very busy, and they need to have started now. To be trying to resolve this. But it's not doom and gloom. It's just hard work. A lot of hard work and grafting has to go into player sales for sure.
All right, and we should be rounded up. I don't think we have up to 3 minutes. But let's see if we can get done. Look, Roger, Bobby looks like he's not sure how to address that of Mason Mount. What do you make of the situation? To me, I think we'll end up selling Mason Mount. Unfortunately, a recent report suggests that the relationship with his camp and the club has really gone down. So we have just about a minute or two to round up. And please, without due respect, I respect everybody. Can we, the behavior of joining this late can actually cause me trouble sometimes. But go ahead, Roger, quickly.
Yeah, I think basically if Poch wants him and he excels, they will come to that they will sit down as we discussed. Poch will sit down with all players and get to know them and get to know them better and on a technical and personal level. But I think with Mount, I think he'll look at him, and if he can excel in Poch's system, I think there's a good chance that they will not sell him, and they'll probably come to a mutual understanding. Whether it's the length of the contract is the issue or the weekly salary. If Poch wants him, you know, obviously he can't ask for the moon, but I believe they can come to a median solution where they'll come to an understanding. If you want X amount, but you want Y amount, well, let's meet halfway in between. And I think because of his affiliation with Chelsea since the age of 8, I think, and if he excels in Poch's team and he likes it, I think this will be the deciding factor. I think Poch basically is the key to this situation. I can't see them selling him this transfer window. I think that would be
Okay,
too
just
premature.
remember I told you this,
No, no,
Roger.
no,
As
no,
much
no.
as I think, I want him to stay. I think he's going to end up leaving. Because we're hearing that Potts' arrival it's too late, really, to help
I mean, it's possible.
salvage the situation. Sorry?
No, it's possible.
Yeah, it's possible he stays,
Yeah.
but in my opinion, I think he leaves. It's lingered too much that both sides, for one reason or the other, will be bitter, will be bearing grudges. Some on the side of the club, you could argue, has been questioning. After all, since we joined here, what has he achieved with the club? They don't care what he had achieved before they came, and to him, he's feeling like after everything he's done for this club, and they need him, and he's a valuable player for all intents and purposes. Let me sound like Curtis. But that's fine. I'm going to ask those in the chat. Let's see what they say. But let me bring JC. I think he's here to make a point. JC, you go ahead. What are you here for? You go ahead. You have the floor.
Yes. Very quickly, see,
Yeah,
coach,
big up.
the way we
Hey,
are
JC.
doing, the way we are discussing right now is probably how Potter was picking his team.
Okay.
If it goes like this, then it is all kind of a mishmash of everything. It's much more simpler, basically. If we look, the discussion is what we foresee the club will do. And we foresee Poch will be playing 4-2-3-1 or primarily 4-2-3-1, occasionally three at the back. And that means at every position, two best players in that system, in the style of Poch. And if you look at that, then you literally have like 20, 25 players to count. And if we will be discussing one by one, like 45 players, we will be doing it like Potter. I suggest it is much more interesting to see, okay, this is the position. We have every position, two good players. One, if needed, if due to injury, one more needed will come from the academy. And I think this is how it will be going. And a lot of players, if you look if we are going to do this table in this sense, you You might just end up with all the wrinkles there. Everybody likes this, everybody likes that. Then, but I think we
No,
are
it's not.
discussing
It's not. We're not considering who everybody likes. Just quickly, we're not
yeah.
considering whoever everybody likes. We're checking contract length. We're checking player form, and we're also considering who will do well under the manager. We've been doing that, and
But
we're also checking how many of those left-sided or right-sided players we have. We're checking those things, but maybe be
coach,
more
I
organized
mean,
to follow the
okay,
approach you're suggesting. But go ahead.
but the weightage of these arguments also have to be taken into perspective. Really, to be honest, money is not a problem. Financial fair play, yes, but if you end up selling 20 players, we will be fine with that financial fair play. And salary, okay, if somebody wants like 100,000 more, believe me, Boli is printing press. There is no problem with that money. You spend
Roger, do you?
600 million and you are not going to
Mhm.
pay somebody 50,000 extra per week. If they want, they will do that.
Um, I don't think it's that simple. You're setting it as a dangerous precedent when you do that. If those new players you signed are all capped at around, let's say, 18, 90, and somebody renews and starts earning let's say 150, 130, 120, I don't think it will go down well. It will cause lots of issues. You see, players will start being disgruntled. It's not
Coach,
that simple, really. In terms of, say, because
see,
you can afford it, you just start giving it to whoever
Well,
asks
the,
for
well,
it.
the new structure
coach,
is
it
heavily
becomes an
incentivized.
issue when we have a squad of 45 players. It is not an issue when we have a squad of 20, 25 players.
No,
And
no,
believe me,
yes, I don't know if
if
you
you
understand my
see,
point.
do
The
you,
owners can
do
afford it, but that's besides the point. How will other players who are capped at a certain, who are incentivized again based on their performance and where we're at and everything? And and here's the thing. Another point also is these players who is time now to renew their contract. Some of them you could say has been reluctant to actually push to stay at the club because probably they don't like the new contract structure.
okay,
But go
Yeah.
ahead with what you're saying.
okay, keep it in the to put this into perspective. You buy Casado for 70 million, for example, 70 million for a 7-year contract, but you can amortize only 5 years. That's 12 million per year. That's 1 million per month. That's 250,000 per week. You can pay him any salary. You are anyway overspending. And if you have to give Mount 50,000 extra, but then you don't have to buy somebody for 50, 60 million, makes no sense. You keep Mount. And if Poch says, I really want Mount, money will not be an issue. So this system setup, I
Well,
think Poch
to a
took
certain
3 weeks
extent,
because
JC.
of that, because he was negotiating how he wants the team. And I have a feeling you will see it totally different. And I don't think coach will be like, how did you play last 2 years? What was your statistics last year? He will go, this is my system. I know this player. I know this player. I know how
And
they
we
move.
said that. We said it doesn't. We even said that with regards to who the club wants to keep. It doesn't matter how you did before they arrive. They will be judging you based on what they've seen you do under the regime, whether you're injured or not, whether the manager didn't play you or not. It's not their business. They
Coach, there
have
will be
a
there,
new contract format with a new construct that they want people to oblige by. Except the difference is that it's not going to be that lengthy anymore, given that the rule is changing. So
coach,
I
By the
think
way,
there
it
will
will.
be
hold
Yeah.
on, gentlemen. By the way,
see,
JC, they're not going to be going to Bowley. It's the football executives from now on
yet
that are
I
running the
just I
show.
am
Yeah.
Roger. Exactly what I'm trying to say. There will always be an argument for both sides, the accounting side of the things and the footballing side of the things. So far, last year accountants were winning, and I hope next year football reasoning wins.
Okay, so what's your point, Jesse? You're saying we shouldn't put conversations in in the sell category?
We can go on like the transfer window will close. We can go on discussing 45 players. I suggest we should be going like, okay, we anticipate 4-2-3-1, and then look at like two best players. That's how I think Poch will approach with the players he has and what he has to bring in. If he has to bring in, how much budget he has to bring in, but he does not have much budget. He has to sell first. So he has to start with okay with the With the current circus I have in front of me, whom do I pick for my system, which I think will fit well? And he does not go each judging each player individually. He looks at his system and he says, okay, he fits well, he fits well. He fits, I need this, I need this, I need, you are in, you are in, you are in. And we will
I
have,
think we all
Roger
we have
correctly
that
said,
we
we will
have
have
that
a
at the
talk with
back. Here's the
everybody.
thing. Here's the thing. This that is more like an unwritten rule. We know that. His approach to the game. I even mentioned that he plays predominantly with a 4-2-3-1 structure and have this. It doesn't switch that much. We know that. I don't think that would be a problem. I thought you were here actually to defend your argument with regard to Kovacic, but that's fine. We'll work
No, no,
together.
that
I
was a
get it.
different argument.
If that would make
But
more perfect sense, maybe
I,
we'll switch to that. But as
no,
we
I
do
very much
this,
agree to you. I mean, that was a different agreement. But then I was giving a thought to myself, okay, 4-2-3-1. There will be two players in the middle, and
we,
one probably pushed a little bit higher. So Enzo, and if they are looking at definitely bringing in McAllister or something, who's
but
already us talking about Champions League club or something like that.
but
So
it's
if
but
somebody's, so that's already for these two positions. You have like Enzo, you have Kante. Okay, you can have an argument like he's more, very often injured. Then you have someone new one player coming in, and then there is a fourth position. Do you put Mount sometimes there in rotation, or how do you see that? So Kova, I don't see why he would be selling Kova
you don't see why
unless
they
he
were
brings
selling
in two,
Kova,
not
who has
one,
just 2 years left on his
unless he's bringing
contract,
in two
and
new
he
players.
wants to leave.
Oh, come on. Then this wants to leave is always a negotiating thing, and believe me, like half of the team wants to leave because after the season we have had,
You know what?
these are
I think
all.
for the case of Kova, we just use a vote, but we're considering all those things. No need of stretching this.
No,
It's an
I don't think
unnecessary argument.
it's. I
I'll
don't
pull
want
out
to turn
Kova,
into a
and we
Kova
have
argument. I'm saying
all.
is you look at the team and you look at the best tools you have, and that's how I think the coach will go
And
about it.
that's what
And
we've
in
been
a
doing. We
discussion with
consider
the
all those
directors.
aspects, JC. There's no, this argument isn't really necessary. It's just dragging the whole thing unnecessarily. Honestly, we've been doing that. We consider everything. We consider contract. We consider
No, but
salary.
I
We
agree.
consider
I'm not,
position.
coach. Again, you are dragging me into an argument in that direction. I'm taking you in a different way. I mean, I'm trying to figure. I want to take us all into a direction of discussing what style of play would we be doing, and just basing on that, what players would be there and how
Did
to
you,
fit
let me
in
ask you,
that.
did you hear when Roger talked about pace and industry, which is very important to Pochettino? These are the things, maybe you missed everything we talked about when you were at the meeting. These are the things we have in our, we don't, that's why I'm saying we get it. Maybe we should start mentioning system more often.
I mean, we're gonna
what's your
play
argument with
football,
regards
not
to
a
the,
factory, huh?
also we
sorry?
talked about the fact that he plays with the 4-2-3-1, but
We talked about all this and we're
but
well aware.
out of possession he plays with the back three because the two cornerbacks are further up the field, just like Liverpool. But the only difference is that one of their number sixes goes into a back three. That's the
Okay,
difference.
okay,
That was a
Roger, hear
breakdown.
me out, please. Hear me out,
Yeah.
gentlemen. Both of you, hear me out. What I'm saying is, I'm trying to take our stream into a direction where we don't end up judging every player. Instead, we take the discussion into a direction what style of football is coming and how exciting it would be with this player as a backup, and these two playing in this four. Instead of judging players and all this, like, I mean, it would be much more fun to have an argument about what style is coming and how do you see with the existing lot we already have, who fits in.
Okay, Roger, you have anything to say? Roger, what's your argument with the case of Mount?
Yeah. Who, me or JC?
No, Jesse, go ahead. Yeah, Jesse, since he hasn't spoken, what's
No,
your,
Mount, I
it's
think.
50-50 on the poll, 28 votes. I'm not going to rush that one. It's a tight one, but in my opinion, I think he will end up leaving. But go ahead, Jesse.
No, I think in a 4-2-3 system, Mount on the left side plays well. But will Poch be able to ignite that fire in him again? Because last year has been bad for nearly everybody in the team. But the season before he was good. So I think they will just have a discussion. Again, I say money will not be an issue. If there is a synergy and they have a common wavelength with Poch and Mount and all, he will stay. He will stay. Moreover, from the rumor mill, but these are rumors. I always come with a pinch of salt. The
I think
rumors
it's
are
a
that coach
time cost.
wants him staying.
Hey, coach, can I ask a quick question? Who do you think is our player of the season? Do you think it's Silva?
Yeah. But hold on.
I know a lot of people would disagree. You should actually consider Kepa. I'm just saying, had it not been
No,
for
no,
his
no.
brilliance,
Yeah,
And
yeah,
we
yeah.
have
I would
nobody.
say, yeah, you wouldn't get to that where we are today. Silva also maybe hands down. I don't know. I have to look at a lot of stuff to come up with that.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
curious. That's all.
Yeah, just curious. I think we'll get to that once the season ends. We usually do season review like we
Okay.
did the last time. We do that, and I think we'll have to end now. And maybe I'll have to bring cover out. Those in the chat will have to vote too. But I think cover will most likely leave in the summer. And I think everything we've done, I think we've been correct. Ian Matson, there's still a question mark whether he extends or not before. But let's say assume the club would want him to extend, put pen to paper for a long-term contract. Bader Shile, these are all obvious choices. There are areas where we'll have a bit of, conversation. Like in the case of Mount, it's not that straightforward. Um, Broya also won't be that straightforward. There are a couple of people there that will not be that straightforward. Lukaku's the dinosaur in the room. Gacho Fofana. There are once we get to them, it's not that straightforward. Ziyech, you could just possibly just drag him and
Why
drag
is
him to the
Broja even in the conversation?
cell road. Sorry.
Broja's not even in the conversation. The kid just signed a new contract.
No, I'm just saying. But this that doesn't mean the club cannot sell him. But I'm just saying that
No, it's
once
not
we
in the
have to,
conversation.
or send him out on loan, we have to have the conversation. That's the thing I'm saying. Um, but I think we'll have to end here. I knew it wasn't something we're going to be finishing a day. And if you read the
Sure.
description, yeah, the description said we will consider the player's form, consider the system, the manager's approach, consider all of the, and we're doing that. For all, each of these players, except for Badiashile, we don't even need to talk too much about him. Ben Chilwell fits into whether a back four or back three. Silva fits in no matter the structure. Enzo, you will always find them. These are obvious options, and we pick them. And Chalobah can be rotational. Kukurea can be rotational. Koulibaly can be rotational. You know that. So I don't think we're missing anything in terms of whether considering the structure. We did talk about that at length. With that, we've come to
A
the end
very
of the
short
show.
note, very funny note, contender has written, and this was exactly what I was trying to point out, and he noticed it. He said, "Why are
So
there
is
four
that
left backs in the list?
Sorry.
Four left backs."
where are four left backs here? Name them.
Let me see, because he's saying there are four left backs. We
Yeah,
have
name the four left
Chilwell,
back.
Kukurea. We have Chilwell. We have Matson. Three already there. Who's the fourth one?
There's no fourth one. Maybe he's counting a Hall. And Hall
Matson
is
No.
in
is
the
way
left back.
back on loan
Yeah,
to
and Hall is in
Burnley.
midfield. And Hall, there's a chance he goes out on loan. So we're here. Look,
So
this doesn't
definitely
mean
we are not
once.
going to have all four. Yeah.
Here's the thing: we can get done, and we say, okay, if you're protesting any player you see on the list, present your argument. That's why it's a show. This is not perfect. This is not final.
Yeah, yeah, but that's why I said like let me come online and maybe we steer to a more better enlightenment, you know. so, so
Okay, Mr.
okay,
President.
but this is a difficult task because we have
No, it's
45
not
goals.
that simple.
So we will continue.
No,
It's
that's
very
fine.
complex.
I get your argument. It says here, and let me see what he says here. We don't have four left backs there. And remember, we put Max in there with a condition, knowing that one of Kukurea or Ventura has to leave even before I think he's agreed to put pen to paper for a long-term contract. So we can always look at it and find a solution. And you can actually have three. Here's the thing: you shouldn't call them left back actually. You could because it's a mix. You could say all of them are not good in the left wing back position, which is a different approach, a different. You apply yourself differently when you play in the wing back position than when you do in the full back position. The application is different, so you can't say the three of them are all left backs. You can say eventual. You can say look at them. I don't know which of them I would say actually is better off in the left back position or in left wing back position. And Mark Cucurella has proven it just seems as if it's actually a left center back rather than a left back or a left wing back. It depends. But let's see. what the manager does. So yeah, good question. I don't think no. I don't think we have 4 or 3 left back there. Coach, we may need a reference on the next stream. Referee, no, I like it when it gets tense like that, which means somebody feels like something isn't going well, and yeah, then we can debate it, and that's why it's a good show. Nothing personal here. Hall is primarily a CM. Yep, thank you for noting that, so he doesn't count. We only have 3 people you can categorize as left backs, not 4. This says my only regret is that I have but one like to give to the stream. Yeah, you're enjoying it that much, and that's why we're here, and that's why I always like to have JC here. You know, presenting another perspective, but he's always at work. And we hyping Madsen up the same way we did with certain players. You could argue that, but I think he's done well enough. But we're still not. We're still looking at things and then present argument why we should take off certain players. And I think that's a chance. By the time the transfer window opens, we'll have to redo this definitely. I think we stick to 2 per role. Maybe that will happen. Which means if we're going to stick to 2 per role, which means we'll have to take off one of either Matson, Chilwell or Marco Correa. So, but we'll do that tomorrow. It's a good argument. I like that. If you say Hall is a midfielder, and then for the next mid player, you need to consider their status, given that you just classified Hall as a midfielder, not a defender really, but we're not sure what they're going to do with him. So, which means we still have to actually look deep into his case to decide where he belongs. But to be honest, we should start Chilwell for next season. Otherwise, we run the risk of being stuck with him like Havas and Ziyech. Let's see what the club does, and plus he just extended, but that's not guaranteed that he's going to be here. Potter and Bally have taken us just a couple of months to change the mentality of this club. That's some skill. All right, I think with that we've come to the end of the show. Rich, I don't know if you have anything else to add. I'm like 10 minutes late from helping my boy prepare for school.
Your boy comes first, sir. Thank you.
Okay, you have anything else to say, JC?
No, definitely no. It's a good start. Let's continue this, and maybe
All
we
right,
come up
thank you
with
so much.
something.
And actually, yeah, and people are saying, let's say, Porter, okay, yeah, 2 per role and 1 extra attacker, yeah, midfielder definitely. So we'll get to that when we know we need just 25 players. Then we'll narrow it down even more. Does that make sense, Roger?
To a certain extent, I think
Yeah,
that
yeah.
the squad's going to be 25 to 28.
That's what I'm saying. Even if we decide it's 28, once we're done, we're looking at it again saying we have too many numbers, who makes weight. That makes sense. Yeah, I think it will make it easier. Just get it down and then decide, okay, we need to take up 2 players or 1 more player, if that makes sense. So, JC, thank you so much for finding the time to join. Let's see what else we have here. Anything else? 25 in the squad. Let's see, what else do we have here? This says, maybe you do that first, cut the squad down to 25, then recategorize the role with that 25. So maybe let's finish first, then we'll look at it. If we have too many people in there, then we can narrow it down. We need depth. RC is good for keep. Um, I think he ends up leaving. He doesn't have too many left on his contract. So with that, I want to say thank you to JC, thank you to Kishan, thank you to Roger Pop, thank you to Bobby who was here, thank you to everyone in the chat. I don't have time to start mentioning names individually. I'm already late. So say thank you and cheers for the stream, says Glenn. See you guys next time. God bless us all and bye.
Cheers, coach.
Cheers, everyone. Thank you so much.